Three players have been ruled out for the Buffalo Bills ahead of their wildcard matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Max Hairston, DeMar Hamlin, and Terrell Bernard. And then four players are questionable: Josh Palmer, Ty Johnson, Shaq Thompson, and Matt Prater. Palmer, though, is the only one of the four to not practice all week as he is dealing with an ankle injury. For the Jaguars, left tackle Cole Van Lanen was at practice today, working off to the side. He has missed the last 2 days with a knee injury. And then cornerback Jerrion Jones was at practice today. He also missed the last 2 days, though his was due to an illness. The Barnes Firm Injury Report is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pre-game on Sunday is going to get underway bright and early at 7 a.m. We will carry you all the way to kickoff in Jacksonville at 1 p.m. We'll then hand the baton off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. And do stay tuned. Sal is going to join the show a little bit later on today at 5 p.m. Some coaching news in the NFL. The Ravens, they have requested to interview Bills offense coordinator Joe Brady for their vacant head coaching position. He can interview with Baltimore after the game on Sunday. And the Dolphins appear to have their general manager hiring Packers VP of Player Personnel John Eric Sullivan. And with this, Atlanta is the only general manager opening. The wild card round, though, will get underway tomorrow afternoon. We do have two games on the schedule. Rams at Carolina at 4:30. Then at 8 over on Amazon Prime, the Bears host the Green Bay Packers. In college football tonight, Peach Bowl at 7:30. Indiana and Oregon play for a spot in the national title game against Miami. Oregon last played for a national title in 2014, while Indiana has never been in this position. Then in college hoops, Niagara at Iona, tip-off just after 7, and you can listen to that game right here on WGR. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
My dad's not here right now. He's still at work. So I'm going to blast him.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I'm going to see if there's a clean version so that my parents and the people at my school will not get mad at me. We've got the spritzer filled with water just in case if stuff gets too fire. I'm going to set up the speaker and I'm going to listen to
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I think this is the best
Mike Schopp
feature that I've heard in a long time. I think his flow is really good in it, and I like his aggressiveness on it, and
the Bulldog.
Put not enough effort in it. I think overall his flow was good, but I don't like that mumble rapping. That was my review of
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Didn't need the spritzer. Wasn't fire enough. No spritzer for you. No spritzer.
Football Friday, here we go. Brought to you by Celino Law. Car crash? Call Celino, call the 8s, and by Crosby's Pizza and Subs.
Need a hand with that?
Nobody asked anything, but there's a question in here anyway. Crosby's Pizza and Subs, Crosby's hometown fuel, game day ready since 1922. One of my favorite emails today. You're pounding the table like you might want to go already somewhat.
I am game day ready. I'm game day ready. I'm prepared for something. I'm waiting to see if you go there or not.
Props?
No.
Not picks?
No. Picks.
Do you hate Liam Cohen?
Picks is three hours from now. Picks.
So far away.
Ready for picks. Yes.
Liam Cohen.
I've done days worth of work.
Okay. Wow, that's a record.
It really, truly is.
That ties the record.
It's going to be embarrassing.
Never been weeks.
When you do hear exactly what I've got. But often I feel like 3 o'clock on Friday is when you give me the chance to unload on the coach of the team the Bills are playing this week. It's often what we start with on Fridays.
What's the last thing you did in your life that required weeks of work? Did you build like an addition or something? Did you dig a trench? What's the last thing you did in your life that required more than days, weeks of work?
I think refinishing the attic.
Okay. Well,
took weeks of work.
You're above me.
We had a head start because we inherited it. It was already, it wasn't beams and, roofing shingles. It was finished, but just not really cozily finished. You know what I mean? It was just, and so that took weeks. This really didn't take weeks. It took a couple of Google searches, but I have a couple of things. But I've been sitting on it for days. I've been like fine tuning what I want to use and not use and whatnot.
Yes.
So first of all, earlier this week I mentioned Cohen's introductory news conference and how it had Adam Gase vibes. And I thought, maybe that's a little too strong. But I watched back, and what he did at the end of, I don't know if it was at the end, but at some point in the news conference, he said, Duval.
He did.
Like that, maybe multiple times. And what he did when he said it looked like he had practiced in front of a mirror. Because he did this thing. It's good. Like, if he were on SNL, I think you'd go, wow, that guy's got a good face. Like he's emoting and he's giving me something, and all he's doing is moving his eyebrows. He went like one eyebrow up and then the other on the second syllable. So he's like, do, and like one eye. I can't do it. I would do it for the Twitch and the YouTube crowd, but I don't have that talented a face. So
look at you. You're like Lee Strasberg.
I don't have that kind of facial talent. So he do in one eyebrow, and then on the Vol, the other eyebrow goes up, and it's just kind of.
I can't do that.
No, I haven't looked in a mirror and tried, but last night in bed while I was thinking about this, and this is not a joke, I really was thinking about this last night while I was in bed. My wife was at work. In my defense,
that's a relief.
Thinking about such nonsense, I was lying there thinking, like, can I do that? Can I? And I don't think I could do it. Anyway, that's just kind of an odd thing. I think he probably rehearsed it. If it was a happy accident or unintentional, that's maybe even weirder. But anyway, so like that was, I think the Adam Gase thing was fine. I ran away from it, but I think it still holds. Thing two. He holds.
Thing two.
He holds. That might imply that there's even a third thing. The second thing is he holds most of all of the passing records, quarterback records for the University of Massachusetts. So congratulations on that. I scored 6 goals as a mite in hockey one time. So, congrats on UMass.
Wow.
UMass? Okay, anyway.
Julius Erving went to UMass.
Basketball school, hockey school.
It's different?
Yes. Football, come on.
Okay, well.
They used to lose to Canisius, probably, UMass. I don't even know.
Wow.
Remember when Canisius had a football team?
Running hot.
Anyway, that's 2. 3, Zach has a little something. I want to just see if, Zach, are you prepared for this? Just play this and then I'll explain what it is.
Our whole culture of cleats, commitment, love, energy, authentic, tough, smart. What that means is to be where your feet are. Cleats in the ground, be where your feet are. The next play is the most important play. And that's got to be the way that we live, living in the moment.
I appreciate that sentiment a great deal. I try to do that. It can be hard. But I don't have evidence that he's got like posters around the facility with this slogan. But the tweet I found this audio from has it laid out like capital C, capital E, capital E, A, capital T, capital S. Cleats, commitment, love, energy, authentic, tough, smart. Okay, I feel like I'm maybe watching a motivational speaker in the mall talk. That's what I've got for you on Liam Cohen. Cleats, you can have all that stuff without the sloganing, I think. Adults, I think, can process to, recognize they need to be where their feet are and embrace the moment and all of that. But I don't, cleats, I don't know if there's hats or T-shirts or, again, banners in the building. But come on, dude, you're in the NFL. I don't think we need this.
I like that.
So that's what I've got for you on Liam Cohen. Duval.
I don't know what to do with that. I just think I like nothing less about Jacksonville's whole scene than that.
The cleats?
Well, it's tied. Both of those points.
Both of those points. You're right.
I got my nephew this morning on an update saying it.
The cleats or Duval?
Duval.
Okay. Because I didn't know about the cleats thing at all until I started looking into him.
I mean, just like, okay, well, I get it. I mean, that's what this is.
I guess. I mean, we've got, every fan base has their thing, and apparently Duval has been their thing for a while. I'm not even really. Is that the county that Jacksonville is in?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
But who does that? Who cares about your county? Who cares about what your county is named?
Only people who live in a city they don't love.
You use the county name instead.
Right. Because you're embarrassed by. Yeah, I don't know.
Victor Cruz went to UMass.
Anyway. Okay, good. That's something. Was he?
He's like the best player. Greg Landry.
He probably wasn't there. Greg Landry, former Lions.
As the show.
The Lions quarterback of my childhood.
That's, well, you speak for yourself on that.
Is Greg Landry. Yes.
Lions, Colts. Yeah. Well, look. What I was going to tell you, and I love the, you've built up this whole...
It's the playoffs, Mike. I needed to do a little extra. We had some audio enhancements.
It's days of work.
Days of work.
You've built up this whole campaign.
I would have tried, I thought about trying to stretch it into 20 minutes to fill the whole segment, but I didn't have it in me.
This is it.
This is it. That's
there's no way on the postgame show it matters to anyone whether we like Liam Cohen.
No.
Like, they'll either have beaten them and so what, or they'll have lost and we don't like our guys.
Right. That'll be the way it'll go. Yeah.
The email that I was excited about today, and it comes around every so often, is the Bet Online state by state NFL rooting interest email.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
It's going to be pretty tough. I mean, you're good, but this is going to be pretty tough.
Yeah.
As it happens, according to geotagged X data in the last week, Jacksonville, Florida, is the only state, Florida, rooting for Jacksonville in the playoffs of all the teams in the playoffs.
We've got that going for us.
Which team? I got this question when I was pulled over next to the cemetery with the blinker on yesterday from the Kansas City guys. How popular are the Bills? You're a fan of some team that isn't in the playoffs, and maybe it matters which one.
Yeah.
But who do you want to have win the Super Bowl this year? Like, who are you for? Can you guess which team is the most popular team in the country by this research, quote research?
I would guess that it's the Green Bay Packers.
No. Okay. Again, state by state, according to this important research, the state of Wisconsin is the only state favoring Green Bay.
Green Bay doesn't have casuals all over the country. That kind of blows my mind.
Well, you haven't had any time for this, but think about it. Like, what state, name a state where you think they would root for Green Bay. Probably the most neutral state, whatever that is.
There's other teams in the way.
The country is kind of mapped out in a normal way by the teams that are in the playoffs.
I almost want to say Montana, but Montana's probably Broncos.
Seattle even. Okay, right. The Broncos can claim Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, Wyoming. The Seahawks can claim Washington, Montana, Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska. So everything that they're sort of touching is for Seattle.
All right.
Which team is California rooting for by this research, quote research?
I got to say 49ers.
Right. The 49ers.
Not the Rams. The Rams, nobody cares about the Rams.
One state picks the Rams. The Niners get...
Georgia.
No. Stafford?
Yeah. Sorry.
There's another player from Georgia that wins Georgia in the playoffs.
Okay.
California gets San Francisco gets California and Hawaii. The Rams somehow get Nevada. And the Chargers get Arizona. Arizona is rooting for the Chargers. Nevada is rooting for the Rams. Georgia is rooting for the Bills.
James Cook.
Maybe.
Could be, sure.
The most popular team by double in the playoffs by this geotagged, that's really one word, geotagged X data over the last week is Buffalo.
Oh, it is the Bills. Okay.
with 12 states. Good luck. Good luck naming the 12 states.
Should I try?
Yes. I say I've given you Georgia, right? So you have 11 left, and it really is interesting based on sort of what the rest of the playoff field is and where they're located.
Wow.
But I think you could probably get most of them, if not all, just by sort of process of elimination, breaking down, state by state who's still playing.
I really feel like I could
now,
really use to be looking at a map right now.
Get one.
Just I
can't show you mine because it has the answers on it.
Right. I don't want the answers.
Get a map.
Well, obviously New York.
New York is correct.
I have to say Wyoming.
Denver.
Oh, that's right. You already said that. That was stupid of me. You already gave me that. But of course I
They're just a little bit too close to Denver to go with Josh Allen here.
Huh.
It's not going to be easy, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Which states, by their Twitter usage, are for the Bills more than any other team?
Is North Carolina at least rooting for the Carolina Panthers?
Yes.
Okay. Is South Carolina also rooting for the Carolina Panthers?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are the two states.
Those are out
for Carolina.
That's it. Transplants, like
That's right.
the cliche, right? I'm just looking for that. I don't know.
But it's a good train of thought.
Ooh, Well, we already know Georgia. Florida's out.
Which team is Missouri rooting for?
See, now they would not be rooting for the Bills, I don't believe, because of Kansas City. Like, that's not a state you can flip. Even the casuals, I just don't think you could do it. It would be like rooting for Kansas City from New York, which we normally would, most people would not do. I've even tried to do it, and I cannot do it. I fail at doing it.
That's for sure, because they've won a lot.
Right.
But the Bills are kind of this underdog.
Right. That's why I said Green Bay. Like, the same thought is. I feel like Green Bay and the Bills have always had this sort of coexistence that is like, my team's out. Oh, I like them. It's charming how small they are, and the kids with the bikes. That's Green Bay, not Buffalo. I guess I don't know how charming smashing flaming tables is, but whatever. We've got our things. So where else do I want to go here?
Pennsylvania?
No, you got Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
Right.
So I can't.
Pennsylvania is Eagles.
I'm not going to get the Bills.
Jersey?
In there. I think Jersey's Philly, too.
That's right. Delaware?
Philly.
That's right.
Yeah.
West Virginia?
Pittsburgh.
Right. Virginia?
That could be Buffalo.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, what's wrong with the people in Virginia?
I mean, there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's no Ravens this year.
That's right.
Maryland is also on the Eagles. Different conference.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and there's a Bills problem there. Maybe even more than Kansas City would have.
All right.
Like, Kansas City could feel like, yeah, we always beat you. Your turn. Yeah, you go do it, right? Whereas Baltimore is like, we're still in, they're not. We've beaten them twice in the playoffs. Opening night this year, Baltimore's got a big problem with us.
Minnesota.
Not going to be Chicago or Green Bay, that is for sure. So could they be who else makes sense for Minnesota? It's got to be Buffalo.
That's right.
All right. I'm on the board.
New York, Georgia. That was the free space.
Right.
Minnesota. That's 3. There are 9 more states. Texas.
Texas can't be rooting for the Bills. Houston,
correct.
Of course.
Kansas.
Well, they're trying to steal the Chiefs, so they're probably not rooting for Buffalo. I'm going to say no to Kansas for Buffalo.
Right, Houston.
Wow, okay.
Houston gets Kansas, Oklahoma,
of course.
Texas, and Louisiana. 4.
All right.
So much. You did all that work, and now I'm giving you this. Before the first break.
I know. I told you I tried to stretch it into 20 minutes, but I couldn't do it.
All that work.
There's no way to do it.
We even had a soundbite.
Who is
all that work.
Who is Nebraska going to be on? They are not going to affiliate with the Bears or they could be Packers, or, Bills, Nebraska. Bills.
Minnesota, Nebraska, and the Dakotas are Bills.
All right.
So 4, New York, Georgia, that makes 6.
I feel like there's got to be a stretch in the South here. Jacksonville only has Florida.
Yeah.
So what about Mississippi and Alabama?
So Bills.
Okay.
Mississippi and Alabama. The Deep South.
Yep.
Loves the Bills, apparently, or likes them more than the other teams.
Could Tennessee be in that group too?
Yes. Tennessee.
We are sweeping the Southeast Conference.
It is so true.
We're just killing it here. Sorry about Ole Miss last night out there, everybody.
Did you give Ole Miss out as a pick?
No. I just mean I'm talking about the Southeast, and thanks for supporting the Bills, and they lost last night. So that was unreal, by the way. I don't know if you stayed with that, but
I was watching the Traders. No, it's the new season of the Traders.
Holy Moses, that was some fourth quarter. I turned that after the hockey game. I turned that on with I think 13 minutes to go, maybe, and it's 17-16 Miami. And what did it end up? 31-27 Miami. It was unbelievable. That fourth quarter was just what a piece of work that was. Just down the field. I mean, just awesome football.
I'm sorry I missed that Final Four game between Wake Forest and Oregon State last night. I missed it. I was watching the Traders, new season.
The Traders.
Again.
I don't know what that is.
Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, New York, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska. There are 3 more. 3? It looks like 4, but.
Did I already ask you about South Carolina? I did. When I talked about
9.
the Panthers, I asked you about South Carolina too, right?
Yes.
And that's where you said I was on the right
13.
track, which I should have just stayed in the South. But that's it for the South, right? Did I run through the whole thing? Oh, Arkansas.
Arkansas is correct.
Yeah.
Joe Ferguson.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, Joe Ferguson. Yeah.
Arkansas, and then also Kentucky.
Again, South, East.
Sort of.
Conference.
Southeast Conference.
Southeast Conference.
Yeah.
I should have kept going. I should have kept going north.
Just keep ripping up.
I need to
right
stop
up
now.
The line. Right up the Mississippi.
There's no way Ohio is.
Ohio
with
is
us.
correct.
Come on!
Yes. And there's one more, I think, but I don't know.
I can't believe that Ohio is on the Bills.
Ohio is for the Bills.
Thank you,
Not
Ohio.
the Steelers, ever.
They hate the Steelers. I hate driving through you, but thank you, Ohio.
They hate the Steelers, and they're not really about the Bears.
Right, yeah.
So, yes.
I should say I hate driving through Ohio. There's this one overpass that I always seemed to be aware of. You know, they have the names of the roads on I-81, right? Heading west on I think it's 81 or 80, whatever. Well, it makes a difference. Which ones are
81 is north and south.
Right,
That's
so 80.
Pittsburgh.
So 80. It's 80, and they're right around where you would get to see maybe Akron off on your right. There's an overpass.
Wow, what a sight.
That it's far off in the distance, but there's a couple of spots where you can see the city from the highway. There's an overpass, and the name of the road is Fang Boner Road.
Wow.
And the first time I drove Owen to Des Moines, I noticed it, and then when I drove back from there by myself, I noticed it.
Can't miss it.
And then we made that trip like 3 more times, and I was like, I feel like we're in Fang Boner Road territory, and like there it is.
Can't miss it.
Anyway,
more.
how in the world does a road get named Fang Boner Road?
It was the guy who he built the library.
Okay, Mr. Fang Boner. Yeah, thank you for teaching everyone to read. One more state we need. Sorry, I'm just killing time here talking about Fang Boner Road.
One more state. Not going to be like those morning guys and let us go 8 minutes late.
Iowa.
Michigan. Michigan.
Who's Iowa on?
Bears.
No.
Bears get Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri.
Michigan,
New England
Michigan
gets
makes
New
sense.
England.
Detroit, Buffalo, hate the Bears, hate the Packers. Yeah, all right, that works.
Yeah, that
All
works.
right. I enjoyed that exercise.
Bills
I don't
are
think I
America's team.
I don't think I exactly did great, but I enjoyed it.
It was hard.
I enjoyed it.
Bills are America's team this playoff.
Duval.
Okay, Sam Panayotovich coming. Please don't do that again. Sam Panayotovich coming up next. We'll talk to Sam Monson today and also Sal Capaccio, 6 o'clock for our picks for these 6, count 'em, 6 super wild card weekend games. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, it is Football Friday. And by the way, we need to take a break, and this break is brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.
to the left. Becca's looking that way. And still looking. Takes off running. Carson Beck with his legs. Puts Miami on top.
Why are you yelling? Turn the mic up and just speak to us like normal people would. Chris Fowler, Miami beats Ole Miss. Miami versus Oregon or Indiana. All right. For the national championship, when is that? Next week? Tonight is Oregon versus Indiana.
Right. I think that game is it next Monday?
Okay.
I'm guessing. I don't. But I feel like that's
not against the NFL.
It's not against the NFL, and that's obviously a free night. So.
Sam, is he right? Next Monday?
Monday, January 19th.
All right.
19th.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess that's next. That's a week from Monday.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're that far.
Wow. When does next season start? March?
I believe it's in August with week 0, which I still can't figure out.
There isn't a week -2 yet?
Right.
Next year. Give it 5 years.
That's right. Week 0 is that pre-Labor Day week, right? Is that what that is?
Before the NFL.
Yeah.
Sure. Can we talk about something more important than this, though, please?
Before is going to be my email?
Yeah, we have to talk about your email.
Okay, wait.
It's been driving me crazy for days.
I know. I just want to say that when I have gone on trips, if I get there like early in the day on a vacation or something, I call that day 0 because we're really not sort of planning anything yet. You're there sort of, you have that time from when you land to, when you sleep. That's day 0. So I've used that. I should have patented it. That's 0. But
too late now.
It's too late now.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Sam. Sam Panayotovich, everyone.
Chicken dinner.
Bulldog, we need to talk about Mike here. I know Mike is in the room, but we are doing this playoff fantasy team, which I like, and Mike obviously has a lot of irons in the fire on this. He's got several teams, and I'm happy to be one of the teams. But he sent me a screenshot of our team, and he just happened to have his Gmail inbox in the screenshot with 853 unread emails.
Yeah. No, he's a psychopath. Yeah.
Who cares? Like, what do I have to do about that? Why do I need to? They're mostly useless. Like, what do you want me to do? Go through all these emails and just like delete them 860 times?
I think you can delete emails en masse. Like
unread.
Yeah, I don't think.
I know, but I'm not sure I want to do that.
Well, you're clearly not paying attention to these. If there's 867
multiple times a day, I delete new email that I know I don't need.
Okay,
but some like the work schedule or my son's tournaments, different things, sort of like I let them sit as unread.
Yeah.
And then a day goes by, and there's new ones. So it just sort of happens.
Sam,
this way.
there are just very different kinds of people. I delete emails that I know I don't want the second they come in. Like, I will be here doing the show. I might even do it during a segment. I probably have done it while talking to you. I look at my phone. There's an email. Oh, that's
wow. Way to lock in.
It's from LL Bean. Get out of here! I don't need to know about your duck boots right now, LL Bean, or ever for that matter. I can't have unread texts, like any numbers on my phone, even on not the main. Like 4 pages in is my Ticketmaster app, and if there's like a 4 there, I gotta go in and see what's there and get it out of there. I don't like any numerals, red numbers on my phone. Freak me out.
I deleted 2 emails while you were talking. And I'm very quick to do this. I'll open up an email because I like to order things online like we all do. And I ordered a Bulls starter jacket about a week ago from Mitchell & Ness.
All right.
Nice.
It's a nice piece.
And I got it finally yesterday. It took about 5 or 6 days. But I've gotten an email from Mitchell and Ness, excuse me,
right.
every day, if not multiple times a day.
You need to unsubscribe that. Yeah.
I unsubscribed just now. I'm not even kidding.
Right. Yeah, I do this with companies I use. I like shoes and some clothing from a company called Thursday Boot Company, and I will order stuff from them and then unsubscribe again, just because I don't need to. I find my way to their stuff often enough. I never need it, but I like it, and I'll buy it. And, like, I don't need it in my inbox. Like, I'm going to find it other places, like Facebook or something. So, like, just get out of here.
All right, good for you two.
I don't need you parachuting in with more. Hey, why don't you buy another pair of boots, Mr. Parker?
You guys think your life is less cluttered than I think my life is, and I just do not agree. I just the number means nothing to me.
My wife is one of these people. Like she's like Mike. She's probably got I don't even know. I mean, I don't make a habit to look at her phone, but I'm almost sure she's got like just stuff everywhere. Whatever. Like, and I don't know. Does this correlate, Sam? Are you someone who pays attention to making sure your devices are charged? Like before you're going to leave the house?
100% charged?
Yeah, like just like plug it in if you're just sitting around, and even if you're using it, you're near a cord. Because we have 2 kids. One is like my wife, the older boy, we're like, I'm at 2%, I need to plug in. I'm like, none of my stuff is ever at 2%. How do you get to 2%? Unless I'm on a safari in Africa, I'm never going to be at 2%. But my wife and older son are like this. The younger boy and me are like, plug it in.
Sam. Good for you, Sam, calling in, spending this time with us.
This is more fun than me talking about my crippling Bills anxiety that is not being helped by the local Buffalonians all asking if we're going to hedge on Sunday. No, we're not. But let's see. I am at 50% right now. I need to charge this, though, because I'm going out to the bar to watch my Ducks tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Your Ducks.
Yeah, tonight they're my Ducks. Look, you guys, we've had a pretty good football season on the show, and then I give like 1 bet or 2 bets a week. And I remember I talked about betting Indiana against Oregon the first matchup when Indiana was getting 7 points at Oregon, and then we talked about Indiana against Ohio State when Indiana was the underdog. Now everybody loves Indiana. And because Indiana pounded Alabama 38-3, nobody thinks they can be stopped now. And I mean, we had a guy at the house today. We got an issue with the washer, right? And he knows what I do. He's been here before, and he goes, man, I really like Indiana tonight. I'm like, all right, they're losing. Like, everybody's on
The washing machine guy thinks Indiana's going to win. Get out.
I'm fading the appliance guy to the moon tonight. But in all reality, like I talk to a lot of guys that book in Vegas and take big bets, and the big bets are all on Oregon. But the ticket count is 4-1 Indiana. So every 5 people that come to the counter or log into the app, 4 of them are betting Indiana, 1 is on Oregon, yet the line is moving to the Ducks. You know what that means.
We had this with a Bills-Jets game this year. Joe brought it up, where most of the tickets were on the Jets and the money was on the Bills, or vice versa or something, and it wasn't even a close game.
Week 2, yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that's what happened with Indiana and Alabama. Everybody was looking at oh my God, Alabama's getting a touchdown against Indiana. Fire! And that game was an ass whooping.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't even close. And here's the cherry on top. All of those people are like, oh, I'm on Indiana now. Like when you're late to the party, Bulldog, you know this. Okay. It's the worst to be late to the party.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be late.
No, you don't want to walk into the party at 1 a.m. You want to set the tone for the party.
Yeah.
You just hope that there's some artichokes left when you get there.
And Lord knows what else.
Sam, what's your favorite wild card weekend bet?
Pittsburgh +3.
Pittsburgh
I love
+3.
It. Yes.
All right. Joe, too. Joe's on Pittsburgh, too.
I'm going on Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yes, I am. I know.
Is this what is this Pittsburgh-Houston game in the context of the last point? Is this a game where isn't Pittsburgh sort of the public? Oh well, Monday night, black and gold, Aaron Rodgers. Who are the Texans? C.J. Stroud. Isn't that sort of going to seem obvious? But maybe I'm wrong on that.
I have an email from BetMGM that says 83% of the tickets are on the Texans -3.
Okay.
So,
you have Patrick.
So no on that then.
You've had Patrick Everson on, right?
Emphatically.
Oh, yeah.
He had a tweet about how when it's 3, it's Houston, and when it's 3.5, it's Pittsburgh. And can you still find 3.5?
3.5 is gone. Let me counter with this. So on the last Chicken Dinner, we actually had Everson and John Murray on, who directs the book at the Westgate, the old Las Vegas Hilton. and he said their best player took Pittsburgh at 3.5 and 3. And Patrick does a great job, but Patrick talks to a lot of the rec books on top of the Vegas books. And I remember him saying that like somebody at DraftKings or FanDuel told him that like it was split. But in the Vegas books, like all the sharp bets are on the Steelers here. And Joe actually found this crazy stat that the Steelers are 23-1 all time on Monday. Now that's not why we like it. That's just sort of a supplementary fact. But 23-1. That's insane.
They're 23-0 at home since 1991 on Monday night. Jeff Hostetler.
At home. Okay, that's what it was. Now, again, that's what we sort of drive at the very end of our point, like to put the oil in our hair and say, pay me $39.99 for my bet. But we like Pittsburgh, and there's a guy that you may have heard of. His name rhymes with Dilly Balters. He's on Pittsburgh, too. He's very, very good at gambling.
I'm thinking about that. Jeff Hostetler is the last road quarterback to win a Monday night game in Pittsburgh. 1991 for the Giants.
I bet you Jeff Hostetler has a clean inbox, Mike.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not worried about mine.
I did see a tweet that, listen, I love I'm on Pittsburgh too, but I saw something earlier, like the number of playoff games in a row, they have been down by 21 points or more in some insane number of playoff games in a row.
Also, the first quarter stat, they've lost in the playoffs 6 times in a row or 6 years in a row, and the cumulative score in the first quarter of those games was 73-0 against the Steelers.
Well, that's not great. Quick counter. They didn't have Aaron Rodgers, and they were probably, if we're going to go back to the last 6 Steeler games, I'm going to guess they were on the road for most of those.
Recently, for sure, yeah. Probably most, if not all.
Yeah, because Baltimore's been winning that division, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like the Steeler thing for me is more about Houston than it is Pittsburgh. I just don't know that I trust that team offensively to go into Pittsburgh and score 27 points or 24 points.
But you were always so scared of Houston, and now like they're worse than the Steelers?
In Houston, and it's the defense. I think this could be a classic. This is like a Steelers-Ravens game to me. So getting 3 points, I think that's my thought.
And the law is that the Steelers will make every field goal and the Texans will miss every field goal.
Right.
So the weakest unit on the field might be the Houston offensive line. That's good news for Pittsburgh. And also think about it this way. Houston is going to be a very popular side, and all of these money line parlays that people are building starting tonight and going through Monday, because we got games Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, a lot of those parlays are going to end with Texans money line or Texans -3. So the books are definitely rooting against Houston here.
Unders are a big winner in the wild card round, traditionally. Is that how you're looking at the weekend overall, maybe? Or is there a total that – I mean, Bills Jaguars is 52. That's a real number.
Yeah, I actually haven't played any totals. I know a guy that I respect who played under 46 and 45.5 in Green Bay, Chicago. That total's down to 44.5 now. There's going to be some wind and probably some snow in the forecast, and you know how that goes. Like, we'll see it on TV, and people will go, oh, no, and they'll bet more under, and it'll keep going. So if there's going to be snow in the forecast, and I don't know the forecast. I mean, I know it's windy, like 30 miles an hour. I don't know about the snow, but people see snow on TV and lose their minds, even though wind is much more important than snow, because snow tends to make DBs and safeties slip, and then guys are running wide open. Wind is much worse for points than snow. But that's the biggest mover I see. You mentioned Buffalo, Jacksonville. That got bet up 51-52. And then I think a lot of people are shorting points in San Fran and Philly. That's from 46-44. But I only have 2 NFL bets that I really like. That's Pittsburgh +3 and Buffalo at a pick 'em. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I literally got 8 DMs in the last 3 days from Buffalonians or Western New Yorkers, like in my mentions that clearly have Bills Super Bowl bets, and they're like, "What do you think? Should we get out?" I'm like, "No, we're not getting out. Trevor Lawrence doesn't scare me. I'm sorry."
Do you have a favorite prop from the Bills game?
No, I don't. I'm so strapped on Bills. I just want to focus on them winning.
Okay.
Here's a prop though that I do like. in the Bears game, Monungai, the rookie running back, his prop is 42.5. If they do it right, he's going to have 60 or 70 yards. The Packers are so bad against the inside runs, and that's what the Bears are very good at. We know Ben Johnson wants to run too, so Monungai to have at least 43 rushing yards is a really good look, I think.
We didn't roster him, did we?
We did not, but I hear we can change this by tomorrow, right?
Hey,
Joe, I talked to Joe today, and he was big on the win, so we didn't get to Monungai either. But
I have a quick question because I just refreshed my screen. I'm not on the FanDuel app. I'm just on an NFL schedule page, but it has the lines. And while we were talking, I just refreshed just for the hell of it. When did Philadelphia get to -6?
today.
Wow, I missed
that would have
earlier.
been today. To be honest with you, I was off the screen for about an hour. I can tell you exactly when it happened. At 2:59 Eastern, they did it again. So, Bulldog, this has been a bet that has been blasted all week, and there has not been resistance yet. This opened 3.5. They blasted 3.5 and 4. There was another move yesterday from 4.5 to 5.5, and now to 6 today. I imagine there's going to be some San Fran money at some point, but it hasn't appeared yet. I had a wise guy tell me that Philly has been kind of going through the motions and trying to get healthy, and he said, I love this quote. He goes, San Fran has scratched and clawed for every yard this season. And I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty accurate. Philly's just been trying to get healthy. Jalen Carter going to play, Lane Johnson going to play, and Seattle dominated San Fran in the trenches.
Right.
Well, Philly might be better in the trenches.
Thank you, Sam. Good luck.
Good luck. Go Bills. Go Bills.
Let's go, Sam. And good luck to us. Sam Panayotovich, Chicken Dinner, esteemed, long-time sports betting analyst, resides in the Boston area. Lives in a house built in the 1700s.
That's a scoreboard.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sam Monson coming up at 4 at his Football Friday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Sam Monson coming up at just after 4, so about 10 minutes away. I believe I read that the Jaguars are going with the full teal.
Good.
That's a mistake.
Yeah. Well, for them, it's good. Good
That's
for
a
us.
mistake.
Yeah. Good for us.
That's a bad choice.
No team wearing head to toe teal is
Imagine going out
beating
like
the
that.
Bills.
Imagine going out.
It's not going to happen.
Wearing all teal. Have some respect for yourself.
I can't. I cannot imagine that.
It's like a pantsuit or something.
Right.
Like a woman going out in all, just like a teal pantsuit. Come on. How's that going to go?
Yeah.
That's just bad choice.
Yep.
I think here's where we're at with the Sabres in my house real quick. 1 minute.
Okay.
The Samuelson goal for 4-2, glass may have been broken by the shrieks in my house when that happened.
That was...
What?
Right.
It was great. The call is great, too.
I need to be careful, but like, because the stakes are obviously not the same, but like Pominville
That's
against Ottawa in overtime level of surprise.
That's what I said.
Like
coming down a shorthanded on the left wing.
Wow, what? Suddenly it's in the net. What?
It's over. That's right.
How did that happen?
At the very beginning of a 4-minute power play,
right?
Samuelson just goes and like Vanek just snipes it under the bar. It's the middle of the net under the bar.
Yeah. Well, that's the spot. Like Quick, that is available on a lot of goalies, and I'll bet Quick just thought,
no way.
This guy, come on. This guy's not getting it in there, and he just got it in there.
Favorite goal of the season easily.
So great.
It's still happening with them. Sam Monson coming up. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Football Friday on WGR.
The lengthy injury reports continue for the Buffalo Bills as they get ready to head down to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars this Sunday for their wildcard matchup. 3 players have been ruled out for the Bills: Max Hairston, Damar Hamlin, and Terrell Bernard, while 4 players are questionable: Josh Palmer, Ty Johnson, Shaq Thompson, and Matt Prater. Though it should be said, Palmer is the only one of the 4 questionable players who did not practice at all this week. He is dealing with an ankle injury. Then for the Jags, left tackle Cole Van Lanen was at practice today, though working off to the side. He did miss the last 2 days with a knee injury. Also missing the last 2 days, but back today, cornerback Jerry Jones, as he was missing due to an illness. The Barnes Firm Injury Report is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pre-game on Sunday, we'll get underway bright and early at 7 a.m. We'll then carry you all the way to kickoff at 1. We'll hand the baton off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. And do stay tuned. Coming up in about an hour, Sal's going to join the show at 5 p.m. Around the rest of the league, the Ravens have requested to interview Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady for their vacant head coaching position. He can interview with Baltimore after the game on Sunday. And the Dolphins have their general manager hiring Packers Vice President of Player Personnel John Eric Sullivan. And now this leaves just Atlanta as the only general manager opening. The wildcard round, though, will get underway tomorrow afternoon. We'll have 2 games on the schedule. Rams at Cardinals will kick everything off at 4:30. Then at 8 over on Amazon Prime, the Bears host the Green Bay Packers. Tonight in college football, we've got the second of our 2 semifinal games. Peach Bowl at 7:30. Indiana and Oregon face off for a spot in the national title game against Miami. Oregon last played for a national title in 2014, while Indiana has never been in this position. Then in college hoops tonight, Niagara at Iona. Tip-off just after 7, and you can listen to that game right here on WGR. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Time is never.
It's Mike Schopp.
Does my room have cable?
No. And the sheets are made of fire.
Can I change rooms?
Sorry, we're all booked up. Hell convention in town.
And the Bulldog.
Can I have a late checkout?
I'll have to talk to the manager.
You're not the manager, even in your own fantasy?
I'm the owner. The co-owner. With Satan.
It's Mike Schopp.
Okay. Just so I understand it, in your wildest fantasy, you are in hell, and you are co-running a bed and breakfast with the devil.
And the Bulldog.
Yeah, but I haven't told you my salary yet.
Go.
$80,000 a year.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Welcome back, Football Friday. Our guest now on the Western Hotline has been a regular of ours for years. It's great to have him back. Check the Mic with Steve and Sam on one of the best podcasts out there. Anti-Shouty Shows is right. We are completely simpatico on that. Sam Monson with us now on the Western Hotline. Sam, Happy New Year. Thanks for making time for us.
You too. How's it going, guys?
Going great. It's nice to talk to you again. Been a while.
Pretty good. Interesting year. I kind of feel like most of – I don't think we've talked – I'm not sure we've talked during the season, Sam. Most of what I would have expected for the Bills this year pretty much happened. Regression in turnovers, really don't get open down the field. Of course, there are always going to be injuries. James Cook did it again. Allen, I don't think it was that surprising of a season. New England, however, has made this a very different playoff layout for the Bills. Would you say at least somewhat the same about the Bills' year?
Yeah, I think you're right. Buffalo's part of it is probably exactly as expected. It's just that in the context, the broader context, the Patriots had, an amazing season and the easiest schedule in the NFL by a mile. And so they were able to cruise to a division win and, a better seeding. So, yeah, I think Buffalo is pretty much the team that everybody expected. The question is, where does that fall in the rest of the playoff landscape?
How fair do you feel, Sam? I mean, Mike just made the comment about the Shouty Shows, and I'm familiar with your work, of course, all these years we've been having you join us. This narrative that if not now, when? for the Bills. I'd have an easier time swallowing it entirely. I don't think it's absolutely unfair, but if they were like the 1 seed sitting at the top of the conference with this playoff field behind them, I'd feel like, of course, if not now, when. But their record tells you that they're not some super perfect team. This might be the worst of the era here since they've been a Super Bowl contender. But yet, Allen is a certain level of accomplished, and there is no Lamar, and there is no Burrow, and there is no, of course, Mahomes. I don't know. How do you feel about this has got to be their time?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty unfair narrative on them because it sort of implies that, look, this is like an easy run to the playoffs now because there's no Mahomes, there's no Joe Burrow, there's no Lamar Jackson. I don't think that's true. I mean, you look at the rest of the playoff teams, I think it's wide open this year. And, really with the exception of Pittsburgh, you would say any of these teams in the playoffs are extremely formidable opponents and certainly no easy task for Buffalo to just roll over. So I think it's an unfair narrative being foisted on Josh Allen and the Bills because people only focus on the quarterbacks. And you look at the quarterbacks in this playoff picture, and it does look like it's a gift. You're missing out on 3 of the elite quarterbacks that are typically there most years, and instead those teams have been replaced by others. But the teams that are replacing them are not necessarily any worse than those teams. In fact, obviously this year they've been better. There's no better example of that, I think, than Jacksonville as their first opponent. Jacksonville doesn't have the pedigree. Trevor Lawrence hasn't had the pedigree in the NFL. You've got to go back to his sort of status as a prospect to get to that elite level pedigree. And yet the way he's been playing the last month, 6 weeks or so of the season, I don't know that there's a better football team in the NFL than Jacksonville right now. So this is seen as, Buffalo's year, and yet I think they've got a real task in their hands just to get by Jacksonville.
Yeah, I have felt for a few weeks, since they did a number on Denver before Christmas, Sam, that Jacksonville was the team I least wanted the Bills to draw. And here they are. So let's get into them a little bit, if you would. Like, what are the strengths and the weaknesses? Because this is a team that absolutely turned on a dime with Liam Cohen showing up.
Yeah, I mean, they're a complete football team right now. And most of the things improved almost immediately with Liam Cohen's arrival. But the real thing that makes them dangerous right now is that Trevor Lawrence has suddenly joined the rest of the team, and that took longer. That was the one thing I think that everybody thought Liam Cohen would be able to move the needle on pretty much immediately, and it didn't happen. For the first half, even more than that of the season, the run game was better, the defense was better, but Trevor Lawrence was not. He was basically still the same inconsistent, above average quarterback that he'd been for most of his NFL career. And then sometime after that, down the stretch, a switch flipped, and from that moment on, Trevor Lawrence has been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, playing like a guy who should be paid $55 million a year. And if that stays the case, well, then this team is really scary because the rest of the stuff was already good. The run game was already good. The defense was already good. The offensive line is already in good shape. You can also point to the acquisition of Jacoby Myers as well, a wide receiver. They kind of, the switch flipped for Lawrence kind of at the same sort of time, so it's always difficult to, figure out cause and effect there. But with those two in the lineup and playing the way they're playing right now, this team is serious.
With Sam Monson, is there anything more to how the proverbial switch was flipped here with Lawrence? They also played a pretty light schedule most of the way from the second half on. After their bye, they lose in London in week 7 to the Rams, and that was pretty ugly. They get the bye, and then they win out except for one loss to Houston from there on. You mentioned Myers, Sam. Is there anything else you've noticed about what they're doing, whether it's pass-run ratio or, I don't know, anything, play action, shotgun, whatever it is? What is Jacksonville doing that really helped make Lawrence work?
No, I don't think they changed anything dramatically to make this easier on him. I think Myers is definitely an acquisition that helps. He's a reliable, dependable receiver. Jacksonville's receivers up until this point had not, he still has an incredibly high drop rate on the season. Trevor Lawrence, Myers has one of the best drop rates in the NFL as an individual receiver, basically throughout his entire career. So that was going to help that area. the route running precision, just his reliability and dependability as a receiver helps. They've also gotten a couple of guys back healthy. You know, Brenton Strange at tight end came back. These things have helped as well. But I don't think it's any one thing that they've done to transform Trevor Lawrence into a better quarterback. I think he's just suddenly hit a purple patch. And, you know, it's not the first time he's done that. I mean, we're up to, you know, almost double digits of occasions in his career where people are asking the question, has Trevor Lawrence turned the corner? So it's not the first time that's happened, but it's getting towards the longest stretch of play that you could make that argument for. So, you know, if this is it for real, then the Jags, I think, are a different proposition.
They did outgame the Rams, by the way, in that Week 7 London game by a pretty good number, even though they lost 35-7, for whatever that's worth. Sam Monson with us here on the West Shore Hotline. Back to the Bills, Sam. So we every day it's about what they are at wide receiver, and this has gone on for at least a couple of years now, whether they've invested enough, have enough talent around Josh Allen. How do you see it? Like what they've done, you know, simply since Joe Brady took over, is they've been more of a run-first team, and James Cook did lead the league in rushing. To you, is it advisable? Like, is this the kind of team they should be given their personnel, or have they maybe missed on how they've built this?
I think it's about being able to win playoff games, and this is the tricky thing with analyzing the Bills and how they've been, you know, put together, and whether Brandon Beane is correct or not when he gets upset about the questions. Overall they're in good shape, and they've been in good shape for years, and that's why they're going to win, you know, 12 games most seasons, and most of the times that's been good enough to win the division, and you're in great shape. But because that's the baseline, the analysis or the sort of nitpicking about the roster becomes, all right, but what about the next 4 games? And that's where people are focusing on when they're criticizing the way that this roster is constructed or the potential weaknesses that it has. It's like, yeah, you don't need a true outside number one difference-making receiver that can beat man coverage in most games throughout the regular season. Like, you're good enough because you got Josh Allen, because you got Dalton Kincaid, you've got James Cook, and you've got, you know, a decent roster overall. So in most games, it doesn't really matter that you don't have that guy. But it might matter when you get to the playoffs, and that guy might be the difference between, you know, one play to beat Kansas City or not, or, you know, in this season, one play to beat Jacksonville or any of the other teams are going to be playing. So this is when we get a better idea of how much of a problem it is. We've already seen it at times this season where there have been games where Allen suddenly starts playing that kind of, you know, 10-second time to throw hero ball where he's just running around trying to find something and nobody's open. And those are the problems, right? Teams know that they can play aggressive man coverage against this team because they don't have that guy that can get open consistently. And, you know, Allen is capable of finding something anyway because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And, you know, they have individual players that can make plays occasionally, but those are the concerns. It's like against the better opposition in the playoffs, are you going to have enough at the wide receiver position?
You mentioned Kincaid within all of that analysis, Sam, and like it's been a very uneven season health-wise for him. He's very much been on a load management type of thing, even when he's dressed for games. But his impact when he is on the field seems extremely positive. So I feel like and he's got a clean bill. He's not even on the injury report. No game designation anyway for the game. So they're expecting him to play. I don't know if that'll mean, 40% of the snaps. That feels like about the ceiling this regular season, but he might be the key to the whole thing for them, I think.
Yeah, I think he absolutely is. I think he's critical to their offense. I think, number one, he makes a big difference when he's out there. And number two, I think he's the best of those players that are sort of all trying to operate in the same area in terms of their best usage, their best skill set within the offense. So, yeah, I think Kincaid being there is a huge thing for this offense.
With Sam Monson. So what about this matchup that we haven't covered yet maybe is interesting to you? I know, for one thing, Jacksonville has this great run defense where nobody's run for 75 yards against them, or more than that anyway, this year. But James Cook was about at 100 yards a week. Do you like one side or the other there? Is there something else about this matchup that makes you lean one way or the other?
I think both run games are pretty interesting, actually. Like you said, Jacksonville's is very good. Buffalo, I think, will want to run the ball as much as they can, try and take the pressure off that pass game and not have Josh Allen play Superman the entire time, like only tap into that when they need to. And then the other side of it, Jacksonville's run game is really good, and Buffalo's run defense is not really good. And the thing, they've been interesting this season because if you wanted to point to kind of one area where Buffalo season kind of ran off the rails a little bit, like they had that crazy streak of 30 games or whatever it was of winning the turnover battle every single week, and then suddenly that disappeared. And that's part of the logic of how this run defense is built as well. Like they will give up a lot, but that's not necessarily a bad thing all the time. It's kind of by design, right? If you give an opponent a 12-yard or a 12-play drive and they're chewing up the ground or chewing up the clock and chewing up plays on the ground and only rattling off, 5 yards for a carry or whatever, they're not scoring on most of those plays, and they're giving the defense another opportunity to get a turnover somewhere down the line. And for a long time, Buffalo is extremely good at doing that, getting the turnover and then offsetting all that yardage that they gave up. But if that dries up, then you're just giving up a lot of ground or a lot of yardage on the ground. And Jacksonville's a team that can turn, small run plays into big run plays. They're explosive on the ground. They want to run the ball. They're good at it. So I think that's an area that Buffalo needs to either get the turnovers in the game or figure out a way of clamping down more on that run game.
It's really interesting that the Bills had that season last year. They haven't had it this year. The team they're playing on Sunday has had that season this year.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's taken it away like crazy. And so, I don't know, what is it really to say this game could boil down to who turns it over and who doesn't. But that's a big swing in this game. Jacksonville has really lived a lot off of that on defense, I think.
Yeah, and it came down to earth a little bit. They were operating at a completely ridiculous level earlier in the season, and it did regress a bit, but it's still been definitely a huge strength of the team.
Sam, which game coming up this weekend are you most looking forward to?
I like them, almost all of them. I feel like the Rams and the Panthers game is likely to be the most lopsided. I feel like I know the Panthers beat the Rams already, but I really can't see a way that repeats itself. Outside of that, I think all the games are pretty fun.
Is there an underdog you like? San Francisco, we were realizing earlier in the show, is up to +6 in Philadelphia. That's a serious move toward the Eagles. So they would be the second biggest dog of the weekend behind Carolina. Everybody else is pretty close. Is there an upset you like?
Yeah, definitely I don't trust the Eagles enough to give them that number of points against pretty much anybody. I think their offense is just too inconsistent for that. Green Bay Chicago game is really interesting as well. The two previous meetings for those teams have literally come down to the final play on both occasions, and they've gone one direction and then the other direction. Caleb Williams had the ball in his hands trying to score the winning points in both of those games, and on one occasion he got it done. On the other occasion he threw an interception and ended the game that way. So I kind of feel like that's going to come down to the same sort of dynamic again. It's going to be nip and tuck and one play at the end for whoever's got the ball last. And it's usually been, both those games followed the same pattern as well. Green Bay looked the better side, got out to a lead, and then Caleb Williams brought them back. So I would lean Green Bay in that game as well, even though they're obviously the lower seed and lower down in the standings.
Spread's only 3.5. How do you like the Chargers at New England on Sunday night, Sam?
The Chargers, I think, are a fascinating team. I honestly think Justin Herbert has an MVP case based off how he's played this season. That offensive line is utterly ridiculous. It's terrible. It's the worst offensive line in the NFL. They've had the most offensive line combinations of any team in the NFL, and that doesn't even count the Pro Bowl left tackle they lost before the season started in Rashawn Slater. So the way Herbert has been able to play, despite that offensive line, has been genuinely insane. The Patriots will get pressure on him because the line's so bad, everybody will get pressure on him. But it hasn't mattered in a lot of games this season. So, yeah, I think as long as they've got Justin Herbert playing at the level he's playing at right now, they're absolutely live underdogs.
Sam, while we have you for like 2 or 3 more minutes, so many coaching changes in the NFL. I think it may be 8 teams that have vacancies right now, so a quarter of the league. Baltimore and Miami are two of the more fascinating ones. Is Miami a team where like a good candidate would want to go? Is that who knows with Tua? How appealing is that job?
I don't think it's that appealing for a couple of reasons. Number one, you mentioned Tua. That's a problem. I mean, his contract is still there. You're kind of stuck with him. You probably can't go back to him as a starter based off how this season went. I don't know that you can give the keys to Quinn Ewers either off the back of an extremely small sample size. And, with 7th-round draft pick, I think he was this year. That would be a tough sell. So you got to go try and find a quarterback from somewhere without, necessarily the salary cap flexibility to get the guy you would want. And then I don't feel like the Dolphins are a particularly well-run organization year on year. I mean, aside from anything else, like a quarter of the decision makers that they have in the room deciding on the new general manager and then the new head coach are Dan Marino and Troy Aikman. And it's like, okay, Dan Marino, sure, he's got obviously an all-time great for the franchise, but I don't know what particularly useful insights Dan Marino is currently bringing to the setup based off his knowledge of, league-wide movers and shakers from the general manager candidate pool. And I kind of feel the same way about Troy Aikman. I mean, he's a commentator. Troy Aikman, I don't think, is particularly well tapped into the front offices throughout the NFL. Those are not, particularly focused, shrewd decision-making processes that they have in place. Plus, owner and the owner's son-in-law or whatever it is. It's just, this is not a particularly smart directed franchise. So whoever is going in there is dealing with a quarterback problem. Who knows what the decision-making tree looks like? I think you've got a lot to navigate as the coach there.
Is there a coaching opening candidate combo that you like at this point? Like someone that you think is just the right guy for any of these jobs that are available currently?
So a lot of this would depend on the interview that he gave. But I think just from an X's and O's standpoint, Brian Flores in Baltimore would be a really, really interesting fit there. Flores obviously has done incredible work as the defensive coordinator in Minnesota, but that's not the reason that he doesn't have a head coaching job. And the reason he doesn't have a head coaching job, in fact, there's multiple reasons. Number one, the first time went pretty spectacularly badly. Not if you just looked at the wins and losses. His record actually isn't that bad, but everybody hated him by the end of that stint, including everybody that worked for him, and that's not good. Yep. So plus you have the added kind of context of him suing the NFL and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to get through to appoint Brian Flores as a head coach. But if you sat him down in an interview and you were convinced that he had learned from that first stint, that the lawsuit is not a major distraction or a major problem from your point of view, X's and O's wise, I think he'd be an amazing fit there.
Very good. Sam, it's so great to talk to you again. I'm sure you'll enjoy the playoffs. Thanks for your time today.
Anytime. You too, guys.
All right. You're welcome. Sam Monson, Check the Mic. His podcast with Steve Palazzolo is one of the best out there. It is Football Friday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. Last call for your takes on Sunday. We will be on after the game, but don't tell us after the game what you think will happen in the game because that would be meaningless.
Weird. Yeah.
We need a break so badly. This break is brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.
Have been ruled out for the Buffalo Bills ahead of their wild card matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Max Hairston, Damar Hamlin, and Terrell Bernard. And then 4 players are going to be questionable heading into the weekend. Josh Palmer, Ty Johnson, Shaq Thompson, and Matt Prater. Though it should be noted, Palmer's the only one of the 4 who did not practice all week. He is dealing with an ankle injury. For the Jags, just 1 injury designation heading into the week. That is left tackle Cole Van Lanen. He returned to practice today in a limited participant as he's been dealing with a knee injury. He, though, is officially questionable. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pre-game on Sunday is going to get underway bright and early at 7 a.m., and we'll carry you all the way to that 1 p.m. kickoff. We'll then hand the baton off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. And do stay tuned. We'll hear from Sal coming up in just about a half hour at 5 p.m. Wildcard round, though, is going to get underway tomorrow. We've got 2 games on the schedule. Rams at Carolina at 4:30. Then at 8 over on Amazon Prime, it's the Bears hosting the Green Bay Packers. Tonight, though, in college football, it's the second game of the college football semifinals, the Peach Bowl at 7:30. Indiana and Oregon play for a spot in the national title game against Miami. Oregon last played for a national title in 2014, while Indiana has never been in this position. And in college hoops, Niagara at Iona tip-off just after 7, and you can listen to that game right here on WGR. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Most of the things improved almost immediately with Liam Cohn's arrival, but the real thing that makes them dangerous right now is that Trevor Lawrence has suddenly joined the rest of the team, and that took longer. That was the one thing I think that everybody thought Liam Cohn would be able to move the needle on pretty much immediately, and it didn't happen. For the first half, even more than that of the season, the run game was better, the defense was better, but Trevor Lawrence was not. He was basically still the same inconsistent, average, above average quarterback that he'd been for most of his NFL career. And then sometime after that, switch flipped, and from that moment on, Trevor Lawrence has been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Sam Monson just before. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sal Capaccio at 5. Those of you, tuning in today, this hour, hoping for the line coming up in about 10 or 12 minutes. The line has returned to its regular position on Thursdays.
It's a Thursday feature. Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, we didn't have shows on Thursdays because of the holidays. So, wow, I'm so lucky. The line on Friday, but not today.
We found a way to fit it in, even with all the Snapdragons and injured and
on Friday.
Everything, yeah.
Last 2 weeks,
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Really.
That's the job sometimes. Mm-hmm. Alan is next. Hello, Alan.
Hi, guys. How you doing today?
Good, man. Thanks
Pretty
for calling.
good, except the vending machine has been broken here for 4 days, and I can't get my vitamin water.
Oh, man. Is that for real? You should have called me. I would come fix it for you. But I hope you get your vitamin water soon.
Thank you.
And I love you guys' show, by the way. And
thank you, Alan.
I especially like when you bring your guests on. I love your guests, and I love your interviews with your guests. They're fantastic.
Nice.
I get a lot of insight listening to people from other cities.
Cool.
That's the idea. Thank you.
And around the league. Yeah, it's wonderful, man. So this Jaguars game, the narrative I've been hearing throughout the week, it seems a little negative toward our Buffalo Bills. The number one is, Josh Allen, he's got no excuse now. All the big guns are out of the race. He better win it or he's never going to win anything in his life. And with that, I say, Josh Allen plays best under pressure. I think we can agree on that. And I don't think that's an issue. But look, there's been a regime change in the AFC, and people need to wake up and see that it is what it is. New people come on board, and that's how that goes. So we have new challenges ahead. As far as the Jacksonville game goes, I'll keep hearing about is hey, there's no reason for the Bills to be a point and a half favorite in this game. Jacksonville's a better team. They're on an 8-game winning streak. They got all the juice. They got all the magic. They got the great receivers, this and that. And, I just remind myself that I was at the game last year, Monday night, when we blew them out. And, I know we've turned it around. We went from, 3-14 to 14-3. Great coaching, right? Mm-hmm. But, look, this is his coach's first playoff game. And I think that matters a lot. And I think the Bills are a very good team. And They have playoff experience, and I think really, even though we probably have never won a road playoff game, perhaps under Sean McDermott, but still, I think the Bills are a fine team. I think the Bills are going to win this game and move on into the playoffs. What do y'all think?
Well, I hope you're right, Alan. I mean, the narrative stuff, we talked a little bit about this with Sam Monson, and we've talked about it on and off really kind of all week, how fair or unfair it is. I mean, the entire thing is dipped in the idea that it's preparing for the fallout if the Bills do lose. So that is not the same as I think the Bills are going to lose. Like, I'm not hearing a lot of people tell you, like, I'm thinking of the national guys that get everybody all wound up here. I'm not hearing a lot of the Bills are going to lose. It's like, look out if they do lose. And that's subtly different. It's not exactly the same as saying you're predicting they're going to lose. It's more you think there's going to be consequences if they do because of no Mahomes and no Lamar and no Burrow, etc. And so I don't know. I haven't exactly, and I don't, mostly the only exposure I have to that content is people who I like and follow on Twitter commenting on it or quote tweeting it. It's not content that I seek out because I like to do this from a standpoint of not having all of that sort of working on me. I don't want to walk in the door and do a show with Mike about what Colin Cowherd said today. I just we may end up stumbling into it. Right.
Never will.
It's just not. It's not interesting to me professionally to do it that way. But I mean, that's all just out there just because of the Bills having been a contender for this long and having not gotten over the hump. So that's just how the machine works, really. And not that you're asking me how the sausage gets made necessarily, but I wouldn't put a lot of stock in that because that is not the Bills are going to lose. It's what if they do. And those are they're not very different. They're subtly different. And I think it's important to know the distinction.
The caller mentions the regime change, as he put it, in the AFC. And I like that. Because for the last couple of years, we've talked about the teams like the Bills who've won their respective divisions as almost like locks. That Mahomes is 27. He's not going away. Lamar Jackson is 26. He's not going away. Burrow is whatever. And we're like 2 or 3 years past that now, where I think we're at a point with Jackson, at least, with Allen soon, with Mahomes maybe also, especially because of his injury, where I think it's a different conversation now. Mm-hmm. And Burrow's been hurt a lot too, so I don't know what his shelf life is as a player. But those 2 years have changed a few things. Their careers and what we might think they're good for going into their 30s. And also, now here's New England with Drake May at a younger age. And here's, what is May, 23? Knicks in Denver. I guess you could use Stroud. Lawrence is older, but not that much older. You know, Lawrence is probably younger than Allen by a year or two. Mm-hmm. So you have new players in more ways than one who have established sort of a new standard in the conference. And I'm not thinking about next, in terms of the Bills anyway, fantasy, yes, but in terms of the Bills, I'm not thinking about next year yet at all, other than the fact that we have to deal with people who want to know what the coaching staff is going to be like next year and GM and et cetera. Other than that.
Even before this game gets played.
Right. Other than that, I'm not thinking about it really at all. But, you know, listening to the caller, like, I'm kind of thinking, who's favored in the AFC East in 2026? Or the AFC West? Who's favored to win these divisions?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it isn't the Bills. Maybe it isn't the Chiefs. Maybe it is. What's Kansas City's win total likely to be next year? I mean, are they right back to like 11.5? It seems high. Chargers are in the playoffs on 11 wins themselves, let alone Denver. So I think we've moved from, which is, this also can be a commentary on like how this year is so vital. But we've moved from, all right, there's the Bills and these teams, and then there's everybody else. And now it's more like half the conference is together with the Chiefs and the Ravens and maybe the Bengals, and then also these teams that are in this year at 11 or 12 wins. That is, right. Like next year, it's a bigger playing field, I think, for what we're trying to do.
Oh, it absolutely it has to be. I mean, that'll be. I mean, I can wait to get there, but I don't think I've ever been as curious to see, like, after the dust all settles, right? February comes and goes, and you have your champion and your parade and all of it. Like, what does that look like right out of the box? And then as the spring and summer evolve, yeah, like who? Because what do the books want to do, right? They're not going to want to give you a great price on the Chiefs because everyone's just going to go nuts for it. Be like, oh, well, he'll be back, and they'll be back, and it's Bo Nix. They were lucky, 18-point comeback against the Giants and whatever. Like, go down the list of close shaves that just one team specifically had there. New England had the soft schedule, all that. So did the Bills, really, outside of just the crossover, a couple of games that were different. Otherwise, the Bills played the same kind of soft schedule, really, that New England did. They just lost a couple games that I want to say they should not have lost. I mean, the teams that just were not in their class, Miami and Atlanta specifically. I don't care how strong Atlanta finished. That was not a good team this year, and they kind of manhandled the Bills. And those things leave marks. But yeah, it is kind of we're in a playoff cycle here that's wide open, and it sort of tells you that the future should at least be some degree of that as well. Moving forward, it should be less certain. There'll be a lot less authority behind this team and this team and this team rule the roost because, I guess maybe depending on how the playoffs go, right? I mean, that, of course, has an impact on it. If the Chargers upset New England and the Bills go on a run, they're absolutely going to be favored to win the division again. I think they were only a game back as it is. And they split head-to-head, so it's not nutty, right? It was a game, right, or was it 2 in the end?
What's that?
The Bills and the Patriots. What was separating them? 2. Okay, yeah, right, 14-12 win total. Okay.
Lots of thoughts are flying around right now. This game, this playoff season, this offseason, the future. I was feeling perky last night for a moment.
Perky?
And I texted, I'll say perky. And I texted Sneaky Joe, would you take a Bills Super Bowl win and have Josh Allen immediately retire? And he said, definitely.
Really?
Pressure's on. Definitely.
I love Joe. I'm definitely not a definitely.
You're indefinitely.
I'm a try to enjoy the ride. I'm cleats.
Cleats. That's funny. You're so
if you weren't with us earlier.
Liam Cohen pilled.
That's my guy.
Cleats.
He's my leader.
What is it again? Character?
Hang on.
Confidence?
Let me get to pull up the screen grab that I have of it, and I'll tell you.
Losing is bad. L. E. Excellence.
Right.
A. And. T. The.
Commitment, love, energy, authentic, tough, smart. That's cleats.
We would put smart last.
That's Liam Cohen's.
Should be first.
What is that? His slogan, I guess, is the best I can do.
It's an acronym, right?
Yeah, thank you. Right, the initials. Right. Yeah.
Put smart first, but then it'd be Skleet.
That
wouldn't be catchy like this is catchy.
Right.
All right, Alan, there you go. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Sal Capaccio at 5. It's Football Friday on WGR. Bulldog was just telling me a story, and I need to come back with another point that's similar to that point. But you didn't hear the story. But this is okay. I think in a vacuum. My wife took our kids to Florida for 4 days, like last Sunday or the previous Sunday. So they've been back for a week or whatever.
So in between Christmas and New Year's, they were in Florida?
Yeah. When I was working here and you were away, they were away. Did you go with them? So
I didn't go anywhere. I went to the bar.
I drove them to the airport, and her car was a better choice for that than mine. So the four of us went on the Sunday morning to the airport, and then I drove her car home, put it in the garage for 4 days, and used mine until it came time on Thursday last week to pick them up. So just the same, I used her car to pick them up, and the lights were flashing.
Oh.
On the dashboard.
Don't like that.
So, no. So basically, in the time that she was away,
it looks like you broke her car.
I can't help but think that I did, even though I didn't drive it at all.
Right.
Other than home from the airport.
It wasn't flashing when you parked it after taking them to the airport.
No, but it was on my way to the airport the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all get in the car. I'm like, your lights are all flashing here. I don't know what happened. And I'm driving it home from the airport, and she's looking through the manuals and everything like this. So we took the car to our guy, and then he's like, I can't fix this. Ooh. And then we took it to another place, $1,800. Oh. And so I can't escape the thinking that I somehow did that.
Right.
Like it.
Right.
That's your story was about a different
small piece of equipment. Right.
But it was kind of the same story that. Right. Like maybe I'm responsible for something that happened to it, even though I don't think I am.
I'm the last person to have handled it, right? Whether it's a car or this piece of radio equipment I'm describing, but I didn't knowingly do anything to harm it. But yet, when I returned it, the person I returned it to claimed that we had broken it.
I know how I would feel, and deep down, I would blame you.
Yeah.
I would blame me for doing something that I'm not revealing.
And you know me well enough to know that I felt that, and I did feel responsible, even though I innocently did. It wasn't like I tried to hide anything. Like I didn't think we did anything to the equipment, but yet it was broken.
This happened to me one other time in my life when my wife's sister went on a trip, and maybe my wife was also on the trip. I don't tend to go on these trips, apparently. I'm around. I'm responsible for the pets and the cars and working. And she had me
do a little better work on the car responsibility part of that.
This is many years ago now, but she had me watch her bird. Like a couple of times during the week. It wasn't every day, I think, but I had to go over and feed the bird.
Uh-huh.
And then she got home and the bird was dead.
Oh boy, wow. This really took a turn.
What
beloved
did
pet.
I do?
Yeah.
Did I maybe do something? How could you not, if you're the other person, how could you not think that?
Of course, right.
I would think that.
Right.
You killed my bird.
Right. Why did you give the bird
wrecked my car?
Licorice? Like whatever. I don't know.
It's just too much. It's too weird of a coincidence in both cases.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I didn't do anything, but I would think that I did. If I were the other person, I would not be able to completely detach from, okay, well, you did this. Like, I don't, what sense does this make? Cars break, birds die, but we really? So anyway,
it's bad timing is what that is.
That's just something I think about every hour. That's all.
Yes.
Sal Capaccio coming up. Playoff football Sunday, Bills and Jaguars here on WGR. Mike Schopp for Paul
Now we have our game day designations heading into Sunday's matchup with Jacksonville. 3 players have been ruled out for the Bills: Max Hairston, Damar Hamlin, and Terrell Bernard, while 4 players are questionable: Josh Palmer, Ty Johnson, Shaq Thompson, and Matt Prater. Though it should be noted, Palmer is the only one of those 4 players that are questionable to have not practiced all week. He is dealing with an ankle injury. While for the Jags, just 1 player has a game day designation for Sunday. That is left tackle Cole Van Lanen. He did return to practice today after missing the last 2 days. He is officially questionable with a knee injury. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pre-game on Sunday is going to get underway bright and early at 7 a.m. We will carry to that kickoff at 1 p.m., where we'll then hand things off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. And do stay tuned. Coming up next, Sal is going to join the show to give us the latest on the Bills. Around the NFL, the Ravens have requested to interview Bills offense coordinator Joe Brady for their vacant head coaching position. He can interview with Baltimore after the game on Sunday. The Titans have requested to interview former Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel for their vacant head coach position. And then Miami filled one of their 2 needs. They have their general manager hiring Packers VP of Player Personnel John Eric Sullivan. Atlanta is now the only general manager opening. The Wildcard round, though, will get underway tomorrow afternoon. There's 2 games on the schedule. Rams at Carolina at 4:30. Then at 8, over on Amazon Prime, the Bears host the Green Bay Packers. While tonight in college football, Peach Bowl at 7:30, Indiana versus Oregon. They will play for a spot in the national title game against Miami. Oregon last played for a national title in 2014, while Indiana has never been here in their program's history. And in college hoops, Niagara at Iona, tip-off just after 7. And you can listen to that game right here on WGR. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Football Friday, playoff style. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, thanks for listening. You just heard the injury roundup there. Sal Capaccio is often the first to know, outside of whatever Sean McDermott knows or whoever he's told when Sean comes on WGR mid-mornings on Fridays. And such was the case today. Sal, we no Max Hairston in the game. Before we go past that, how big a loss is he? I mean, we've had plenty of time spent on how he was on the field and how it happened that he was injured. How much will the Bills miss him?
First of all, can I just diverge for 1 second? I'm over here laughing because of what you just said about how, I'm the first person to know, other than what Sean McDermott says because I'm in the media. I have to just tell you guys a quick story. You'll appreciate this. So maybe about a month and a half ago, so what happens is McDermott meets with the rest of the media, local media, after he's on the radio with me, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes but they get their initial information off of the interview with me, and they tweet it out, which is great. And one of our media colleagues, says to me about a month and a half ago, "Oh yeah, you got McDermott on tomorrow," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is about a while ago," and say, "Yeah, well, somebody said that." They told you, people, Odyssey, bosses, whoever, they told you have to wait till the end to ask them about injuries, to keep people on and keep them on and keep people in suspense. And I'm like, well, number one, that did not happen. Nobody's ever told me.
No, we'd actually have to have some kind of meetings for that to happen.
Yeah, right. I mean, what are you talking about? I'm like, they pretty much trust that I'm going to handle it the right way. And number two, why wouldn't I wait? I'm not going to come out, "Hey, Sean, give me the injury report. Let's go." And then everybody stops tuning in. Right. This is radio. That's what we do, right?
Right.
Why would I not ask them 3 or 4 questions to get people to continue to listen in? Anyway.
Makes sense to us, I think. I speak for Mike.
I would hope so. I don't know. I just thought it was funny because you're he tells you first. I'm like, yeah. And I wait a few questions. You guys do this for a living. You interview people. You get somebody on the air and it's like you start your show and you get into the flow a little bit. I like to ask Sean a few questions about, what's going on in life or what's going on with the team and last week. And then, hey, why don't we do the injury report? So that's what happens every week. It's just so funny. It reminded me of that. I just thought it was kind of weird.
It's different than what they do. This is different than what they do. The press conferences are often frustrating to me because I don't think that many of the people asking him questions really care what his answers are. They really are not trying to find anything out. They're asking questions about what it means about your team, or just sort of they want sound bites. And as long as he talks for 45 seconds after they're done talking, it's a win. But it's not really telling us anything interesting about the game or a decision. There are some questions like that too. But yeah, I mean, they're playing. They're in different roles than we are.
Right, we have different jobs. Yeah,
we have different jobs.
And look, I'm not naive enough to know that I understand that, like, when people are listening to my interview with Sean McDermott, most just want the goods. They want the injury report. I totally get that, right? But I'm in a position where I got to have this one-on-one conversation with him on the phone, so I'm not going to just start firing that off. And by the way, that would be terrible for radio. Like, I just don't want to do that. I do want people to actually listen to the interview.
It would turn the whole thing into just transactional. Like here's the injury report. We're done. Thanks for calling. Like, whatever.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and you don't want to do that. Now, to get to today's injury report, he did immediately say and rule out in that part of the conversation that Max Hairston is going to be out for the game. And, Mike, you asked how big of a loss. I do think it's a big loss. It's a notable loss. Now, from this standpoint, the Bills, they don't normally start Max Hairston now, right? It's Tre'Davious White. And honestly, Trey White's played pretty well, really well. Hairston doesn't play a ton, but they do rotate sometimes. But the reason why I think it's notable and big is the Bills have had a pivot with Max Hairston if they've wanted to go with matchups if a team is hurting them with speed. And they don't have that in this game. Right. If the Jags start to put guys on the field, a lot of guys, and spread the field and say, okay, now, you're going to have to cover all these guys and we have speed with Parker Washington and all that, and the Bills, they start getting beat, they don't have a pivot to say, let's put Max Hairston in for Tre'Davious White. Because early on, when Max Hairston started playing, why did he play that first game against the Chiefs? I think it was because we all knew, they need some speed. He had an interception against them, and that was a big deal. They don't have that in this game. And Dane Jackson represents a nice floor for them, which is veteran, understands the defense, knows where to be, when to be there, but he doesn't have the ceiling to be able to keep up with the athleticism maybe the other teams can present.
Yeah, I feel like Hairston is a considerable loss. I mean, it's good that Tre'Davious White has played, I think, as well as he has down the stretch, and you've got Benford healthy. So it's not like it's glaring, but yeah, I feel like there would have been a role for him. If nothing else, maybe to just chase Brian Thomas Jr. around. I mean, not that the Bills are in the business of doing that, but like speed-wise, he's the I don't need to see Tre'Davious White chasing Brian Thomas Jr. down the field. Like, I don't think that's going to end well.
That's right, but the Bills, as you guys know, play a lot of zone. Now, they play more man-to-man this year, but they're a zone defense. They keep everything in front of them. I think they really trust their own system anyway, even when they went against, Chase and Higgins and those guys. They're going to get theirs a little bit, but we're keeping everything in front of us. We're not getting beat. The Bills' main mantra, since Sean McDermott has been hired and the head coach of this team in 2017, a defensive-minded coach, the main mantra that comes out of that room and that group is do not give up explosives. And they have been the best team in the league pretty much over that time period of not giving up explosive, including this year, which I still think is an amazing stat. A friend of mine just texted me and said, did you really say that as a stat? Is that right? Here's the stat. The Bills have given up one 40-yard pass play this year. Exactly 40 yards of busted coverage at Kansas City. No other team has given up – every other team has given up more than one 40-plus yard pass play this year. It's just how they're built. So no matter what speed the other team has, the Bills are very confident to keep players in front of them.
Hollywood Brown, 40 yards.
Yep.
Right.
And it was exactly 40 yards.
He didn't score on that.
And he didn't score. It wasn't even more than that or a touchdown. It was exactly 40 yards. And there were other close ones. We talked about this a few weeks ago. There were other high 30s. Brian Thomas, what are we doing with him here? So fabulous, huge rookie season. This year, just okay. 700 yards, 2 touchdowns for Brian Thomas.
Lots of drops.
It's Myers, who they traded for, who's like a version of Shakir, maybe better, but he's like a possession receiver type. Parker Washington in the slot. He's interesting, but he's kind of come out of nowhere here in recent weeks, had some huge games. And then there's just over there on the side is Brian Thomas, who that's a little bit daunting that you have this guy who's been so prolific in his career, but has just had a disappointing second year, I think is easily safe to say. What's he worth in this game?
You might know this more than me, Mike, without looking I haven't dug into it, but because, you probably look at some stats a little closer, like even fantasy-wise, isn't Thomas a little bit better in the second half of the season maybe this year? Has he been a little bit better? Maybe not volume, but more consistent, I guess. More reliable, I guess.
Yeah, he never became a good play in fantasy, but it wasn't as bad necessarily, but...
Yeah, the beginning of the year was terrible.
I think that's in conjunction with the trade for Jacoby Myers. I really do. I think that since Jacoby Myers, who, by the way, Sean McDermott brought him up again today on the Extra Point Show.
Wow, he can't quit.
Talking about he mentioned him and Greg Newsome, them acquiring them at the trade deadline and how well they've helped their team. And I think that it's fair to wonder, like, if all these times he's brought it up or talked is he saying, hey, they improved their team and, we didn't improve our roster from a trade standpoint, right? And mentioning how other teams did. I'm not sure, but I think it's fair to wonder about that from people who've done that. Since Jacoby Myers has been inserted, it just feels like everything flows better for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That includes Brian Thomas Jr., that includes Parker Washington, that includes Brenton Strange, who really, he's had a few injuries in his career, but now when he's healthy, he's been really good. Washington does move around a little bit. He doesn't exclusively play the slot. You say, what do you want to do with Brian Thomas Jr.? I don't think that's a guy you have to necessarily run around and put Christian Benford on him every play. But I do think it's a guy you need to be aware of. But the trick is, right, when you have a team like that and they have a lot of these weapons that you can spread around, if you do put one guy on him, that's going to leave another guy free in some other ways. So it's a tricky proposition.
I'm sort of chuckling to myself, a little more inside baseball, if you will, from what you led off with here, Sal, about how you handle McDermott. As you're talking here about their receiving core and how they've gotten hot, I'm thinking to myself, man, I think I just saw a clip of Jeremy and Joe talking to someone about how Cohen does what McVay used to do with Goff when they were together at the Rams, and I'm thinking, like, who was it? I want to mention it here, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, it was you. It was Sal. Yeah. So tell everybody what you said to them this morning about the communication and what maybe McDermott and Babich and the defense in general could maybe capitalize on, if that's not too strong a word, sort of changing looks at the last minute.
Yeah, I like it, the inside baseball. I do think this is the game within the game. I think this is a very big key component of this game, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars do with Cohen and Lawrence a lot of what McVay did with Goff, where they don't huddle, he gets up to the line, and he talks to him in his headset and his helmet until there's 15 seconds left on the play clock, because that's the rule when it gets shut off. He kind of gives them the answers to the test, so to speak. He says, okay, they're in this front, they're in odd, they have, watch out for the linebacker over here, we got a good play here, stick with it. Hey, you need to change up the front, you need to change the protection, whatever it is. He's getting that from Liam Cohen. And it doesn't mean that he's not smart enough to understand that stuff himself, but what it does mean is once it gets to 14 seconds, now he's, all right, got everything that Liam Cohen told him. The Bills know this, right? They know this. And once you get to 14, that's when you might start to play around with things, change things a little bit. It gets under 10 seconds, pre-snap, you move safeties around, you move a linebacker, and you blitz from a different spot than what he thought, because what he's hearing from Liam Cohen that he's seeing then becomes a different picture before the snap. And I do think because the Bills have been so good at this over the years with Sean McDermott, granted a lot of times, most of the times with Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, but now Poyer's back, you got Cole Bishop. I just think that's something that the Bills will maybe have to turn to in this game if they want to try to figure out how to, make a big play or flip the script a little bit here.
I did hear also, and I don't have data on this, I just know I heard an interview, maybe it was with One Bills Live, mentioning how that they will go fast sometimes, Jacksonville, and maybe that's to avoid what you're talking about, right? Like, I wonder how often they snap the ball at 15 or close to 15 seconds to not give a defense time to do that, like to try to change it up on them.
I think it's absolutely part of the equation. As I just said that the Bills know they do that, they know the Bills know they do that, right? So they're going to say, okay, there it is. Let's get into play. Let's just snap. That's the play we want. We don't want the defense to change the look right there. And absolutely, I do think that they'll do that. Plus, they have a really well-balanced offense. Now, their run game Travis Etienne's good. the issue with the run game is the Bills' defense. It's not Jacksonville, what they can do. This is not the Baltimore Ravens running the ball. They have not had over 4.2 yards a carry since a game in October. Every game since then has been 4.2 or less, and that's not a big number. But if they get rolling on with their running game, that's when they become even more dangerous in the passing game, because then they'll start to do stuff out of play action, and that's what the Bills have to take care of and really try to button up on here. When the Bills say we're going to stop the run first, I think it sounds like a crazy thing to people because, well, wait a minute, you got Trevor Lawrence, and look how good they are in the passing game. I still think the Bills want to stop the running game first, because then if they become one-dimensional and they say we're just not going to be able to run the football, then you can start doing those other things.
Wonder if Jacksonville might shift toward Bashal Tutin, the rookie running back in this game, a little bit. Etienne is, in a few different seasons, kind of looked like, by the numbers at least, worn out. And Tutin, coming back from an injury, probably the more athletic, explosive back at his young age, handled some goal line stuff for them. And this will probably happen because I drafted the hell out of Bashal Tutin this year, and he hardly did anything. So now that the season is over, here it comes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go.
Sal Capaccio on the West Shore Hotline. All of that about the Jaguars scripting plays, or not scripting plays, but talking in the huddle and everything, was not. I'm sure it was not meant as a Joe Brady tweet. But I wonder about Brady here in this game, Sal. What you think maybe his job is in this game? What he needs to do best? Because it's not just Sean McDermott or Brandon Beane that we're going to be fixated on next week if they don't come home with a win here. It's Brady too. Like he's not everybody's favorite. He did get, I want to say finally, a mention or an interview request, right? Baltimore now has asked for him, and I thought it was interesting. This morning I was thinking about how I hadn't heard anything like that yet from him, and you hear a lot of names. So what might be, in your opinion, the thing that he needs to do best Sunday?
I did an interview in a Baltimore station this morning because of that, and it was on video, and there was the people in the chat box, the bullpen, so to speak, for them. And there were a lot of Ravens fans like, no, I don't want him. And, I think he's a polarizing guy right now because Josh didn't have quite the year he had last year, and people see that. But they're still, number 4 in the league in scoring points. And I think his job in this game is to make sure there's a pivot if the Jacksonville Jaguars really slow down the run game. Now, I know the Jags are number 1 rushing defense. I totally get that. But the Bills are going to do what they do. They're going to be who they are. They're still going to try and run the ball. I don't think the Bills are going to come out in this game and say, we're going to suddenly change our identity and become this team that throws the ball 40 times. They don't want to live like that. They want to give the ball to James Cook and stay on schedule and have 3rd and short. That's how the Bills are going to have to make their living. And if the Jags start to really slow that down, then what's the pivot? His job is to have a pivot ready to be able to really be able to do something in the passing game that can kind of make something work to allow the running game to continue to go. I think the other part of it is his job in this game is to make sure that Josh Allen kind of is at the best version of himself, I guess, right? Settling in, whatever. You go back in some games that we've talked about over the years, and I don't know if I can give you one off the top of my head, but what's the book on Josh sometimes where he gets so amped up early in the game? Early in the game, he's so amped up that, maybe he needs to get hit a little bit. He said before he might need to, get hit a little bit, or you want to give him an early throw. You want to give him an really early success where he can feel good. Last year, the AFC Championship game, the Bills went 3 and out. They started the game with, I think, 3 straight passes. They were incomplete, and they had to punt the ball. And, I think you want to do something early in this game to establish that you can be a little bit more settled in and in control.
Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline with us here for just a couple of more minutes in advance of Sunday's Wildcard game in Jacksonville for the Bills. Sal, what's your best guess? I mean, we know Palmer is questionable, so that'll probably go right up to Sunday. Maybe the practice squad elevations at 4 o'clock tomorrow will tell us something. Like, for instance, if Mecole Hardman gets elevated, then you might have your answer. And that would answer this question, too, about Keon Coleman. How do you feel about Coleman? I mean, the practice squad elevations are probably going to be, there's only the 2, and they've got whatever needs at linebacker maybe or elsewhere.
Running back,
right, if Ty Johnson isn't right. So I don't know how, liberally they can just call Hardman up. What do you think about Coleman in this spot? If do you think he gets called on?
Boy, it's a tough call. If Joshua Palmer can't go, that puts you at, 5 eligible receivers, right?
Right.
Shakir. Yeah, Brandon Cooks, because Brandon Cooks play. Gabe Davis, I think you're looking at 5 wide receivers, Tyrell Shavers. And I could see a world where they could just roll with 5. I don't think they have to have a 6th, especially because with Dalton Kincaid now healthy and off the injury report, I think you could really lean into 3 tight ends. You could lean into your 13 personnel if you want at times. So, no, I don't think that even with Josh Palmer, it's a slam dunk that Keon Coleman gets called upon. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mecole Hardman was elevated for this game for this reason, especially if Palmer can't go. Yes, to help replace, and you have a receiver, you have an option, and you're going to want to have another threat downfield. The Bills would like to have another speed element. You have Cooks right there. But, guys, if Palmer can't go and you are going to go with 5 receivers, how much risk do you want to put on Khalil Shakir returning punts and putting that on his plate too? Because if something were to happen to Khalil Shakir, now suddenly you're really down wide receivers. So I think it's a dicey proposition to have 5 plus Coleman, because then you'd have Khalil Shakir returning punts still. I think you have to think about that aspect of it. And honestly, he's the 6 out of 6 guys right now. And it just doesn't feel like they trust him. That's really what it comes. That's the word. It's just trust. It doesn't feel like they trust him right now.
Yeah, I think if you're in a win or go home situation, it would really say a lot, right? If Palmer isn't there, you're right. There's just the 4: Shaver, Shakir, Davis, Cooks. Those are your 4. You want a 5th. If they elevate Hardman to take that 5th spot instead of Coleman, I mean, that just really says it all. And I would respect it. Like I understand why they don't trust him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you can't do the things off the field that you need to do, then it's hard to trust you on the field. And I'm not saying anything happened since we know things have happened off the field with, him being benched early in the season, but it was multiple times, going back to that time. And I just think that has to be part of the equation that you think about, and hey, if he's been doing everything right, then sure. But the production hasn't quite been there as well. And how much does Josh trust him, right? It's a numbers game. Given all of the scenarios that we're talking about here, guys, with Prater's injury, with Terrell Bernard being out, with Ty Johnson being questionable, it's hard for me to get to Keon Coleman getting a jersey, because I just think you're going to have to probably elevate other people at other positions, and the 48 game day roster is going to have to look differently. It's going to have to look a certain way probably without him. It's possible. I just don't see it right now.
Sounds right to me. Quickly, Damar Hamlin didn't make it back?
No, he didn't. They're not going to activate him for this game. He has been ruled out. Max Harrison been ruled out, and Terrell Bernard has been ruled out. And the reason I brought him up, guys, so everybody bumps up a rung. So that means Joe Andreessen becomes your main backup middle linebacker behind Shaq Thompson. He's questionable. He will play, Sean McDermott said. And therefore, you might need Keontae Jenkins or Balen Spector to fill the special teams roles.
That's one of those. Daquan Jones is, I think, a big one for the practice squad call-ups, because if he's not there, then maybe that's Jones Jr., I think, if I've got the right name. So, there's a lot.
I like the way he's played, by the way. I like the way that Jones Jr. has played. I think he's given good special teams reps, and I think he's given you a few good snaps on defense. And I think Fedarian Mathis has given snaps on defense. So what we thought the defensive line group would look like a couple months ago rolling in the playoffs is certainly not, I think, what it looks like right now. But I actually think that it might be a little bit better than, what the given scenarios would be if you'd said that.
This is Andre Jones?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sal, thanks for your time. Enjoy your Friday night and your trip to Jacksonville.
All right, you too, guys. We'll talk on Monday, hopefully, about what's coming up next weekend.
Yes, man. All right. Sounds good. There's Sal Capaccio. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet, Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Did you see that Al Michaels is back next year?
I did.
Love it.
So
let's go.
Tomorrow? Is it tomorrow night that they got?
Yes.
That won't be his last game. He'll be back for 26.
Let's go.
I saw that. Yeah.
We'll have another shot at him.
That's right.
I hope.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's 80. Good news. Possibly the top 2 NFL picks in the draft, top 2 picks in the NFL draft meeting tonight in the college playoff semifinal. Mendoza and Moore, the quarterbacks for Indiana and Oregon, respectively. Are we picking that game, or is it just the 6 NFLs?
Just the NFLs. I'm not prepared to pick that game.
No, I don't want to be unprepared to do it. It would be very different than usual.
I would have read a lot.
Really?
I would have talked to all my Indiana and Oregon people.
We did talk to Sam, and he's like, Oregon.
Yeah.
That's not enough for your process?
No.
All right, that's fine.
I'm more thorough.
Picks coming up
Did
at
you
6.
hear the first segment where I had all that information on Liam Cohen?
Yes.
I dig deep.
You worked toward, you got an attitude. You got your dander up about him.
Yeah.
Which, that's healthy. That's sports right there.
That's what we're here for.
803-0550 for your calls. We'll look for you until 6. Then we'll have our picks for the weekend. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. It's Football Friday on WGR.
Folks,
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of
3 players have been ruled out for the Buffalo Bills ahead of their wildcard matchup with Jacksonville. Max Hairston, DeMar Hamlin, and Terrell Bernard. And then 4 players are questionable. Josh Palmer, Ty Johnson, Shaq Thompson, and Matt Prater. Though it should be noted Palmer is the only one of those 4 questionable players who did not practice all week. He's dealing with an ankle injury. And then for the Jaguars, just 1 player with a game day designation. That is left tackle Cole Van Lanen. He got back to practice today after missing the last 2 days with a knee injury. He is officially questionable. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pre-game on Sunday is going to get underway bright and early at 7 a.m., and we'll carry all the way to kickoff at 1, where we'll then hand the baton off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. Wildcard round, though, will get underway tomorrow afternoon. We'll have 2 games on the schedule. It'll be later on in the afternoon, with the first one being Rams at Carolina at 4:30. Then at 8, over on Amazon Prime, it is the Bears hosting the Bears hosting the Green Bay Packers. Then tonight in college football, Peach Bowl at 7:30. Indiana and Oregon are playing for a spot in the national title game against Miami. Oregon last played for a national title back in 2014, while Indiana has never been in this position in their program's history. And in college hoops tonight, Niagara at Iona. Tip-off just after 7. You can listen to that game right here on WGR. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Personally, I love playing on the road. Going into someone else's stadium, they're loud fans that bring the energy. It's easy to get amped up for those games. So I know our fans always travel well, but I think there's just a few little extra things preparation-wise that go into playing away, like doing silent snap counts, little nuanced things like that. But I wouldn't say there's a huge difference between the preparation that we actually do going into a away game as opposed to a home game.
Dawson Knox, Bills at Jaguars Sunday. Knox has had some playoff moments. He has 6 touchdown catches in his career in the postseason. None last year, but 1 or more in each of the previous 4 seasons. So, and that's up on the list, right? Once in a while we've looked at that list of the Allen era touchdown receivers, and Knox is like maybe 2nd or 3rd. It's up there.
He's been here for the whole run, right? I mean, I think what
19,
right? Okay, yeah. Doesn't he? Does he give? He gets the first touchdown. Are they up? What is the score? 9-0 in the
yes,
the first AFC title game.
2020.
He scores that first one, I think, if I remember right.
I think that's right. It was it 2-0 and then 9-0?
Yeah, right. And there was a botched punt or something that gave the Bills great field position. Either that wasn't the safety. I think they got the touchdown right off of that. If I
think so.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Thank you for confirming. It can get dusty in there. I think I got that.
Knox caught Allen's first touchdown pass in the playoffs in his career against Indianapolis.
Houston? Oh, Indianapolis. Okay.
Yeah, I guess he didn't throw one in the Houston game.
Yeah. He caught one in the Houston game.
Yes. Knox against the Colts, then against the Chiefs, like you just said, then against New England twice the next year when it was freezing, then once against Miami in that playoff win, wild card win, and then once against Pittsburgh. So 6, pretty good. Let's go to John here. Hi, John.
Hi, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Good, John. Thanks for calling.
Hey, got a quick question for you, and I want to get your opinion. So, how much of an impact do you think offense and defense, how important it is to dominate on those in the first quarter, or at least the first series of the game? And I just be interested to really put a stamp on what the Bills want to do for that game and just make that impact. And I'd be interested to see what you guys thought.
Well, it's never bad.
Right.
It's any sport, like get ahead.
Dominate might be a lot to ask, but yeah, I mean, you'd like to have a good start.
Ryan Fitzpatrick made this point. We played a clip yesterday of him saying how he thought it was especially important for the Bills to start well. It's also every Sabres game when it's previewed is that they should start well. Yeah, it's probably good. I don't know if they have to do it, but it might be the kind of team. In fairness, it might be the kind of team where it's more important than other teams.
Jacksonville, you mean like the
Bills?
Okay. I thought you meant with their inexperience, like punch them early and.
Well, maybe that.
Yeah,
maybe that. That was part of Fitzpatrick's point.
Right.
Make Lawrence think about it. Make him sweat.
They're new at all this kind of thing, kind of.
But these losses, like Miami, Atlanta, Houston, if not others, Philadelphia, they're down 13-0 midway through the fourth quarter.
They were down 16-0 in Miami into the fourth quarter in that game.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure is on, and they did threaten in those games. What's the other loss? New England. I mean, that was more of a back-and-forth game.
Right.
But they did threaten in those games. They just, didn't get there. And, yeah, I mean, you don't want to live like that Sunday. You don't want to be down, obviously. You don't want to be down 2 scores and have to maybe get out of your game plan or just sort of be thinking at all about what there is to lose.
I mean, need it be said, the thing that's most imperative is to not have it be hot and cold, one half to the other. I mean, we sat through the Cleveland game. I mean, we never really sat with it. You were off for post game that day, and then by the time we were back running again on Monday, it was like the game hardly even happened, I think, because it was on to the next thing. But they started they were 21. They were up in that game. They started hot, and then they were asleep for the rest of the game. So that doesn't really work either, right? It was like the opposite of what had happened in New England when they got buried early, down 21-0, and then stormed back and won the game. So, I mean, you'd like to just avoid, obviously they're not going to. I don't expect them to score every time they have the ball, although they have done that in the playoffs. Just a few years ago now, that New England game, that did happen.
I'll tell you what, if you're not done.
I'm done.
There's this point, and this is, I think, part of John's take and maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick's and maybe most people. We had a caller earlier, first playoff game for Liam Cohen. How many is it for Lawrence? Like 3? He's 1-1 in his playoff career.
Yep.
Beat the Chargers, then lost in Kansas City. Like you might think their inexperience is in your favor. And I just don't. I mean, I don't even care if it's the Bills who are, when they got into the playoffs with Allen in the first place, and other teams might have had more experience than they did. I don't care. I mean, it can affect anybody individually, and I won't know, and they won't even know themselves how it will affect them until it happens. But I just do not think of this way. I mean, this is more of like Aaron Schatz's school of football analysis. I don't think playoff games are really different. They're more famous. There's more at stake. But I just don't think most professionals are going to be like, and maybe late in the game, you miss a throw. How does Allen miss the throw to Shakir against Philadelphia? Even Allen, right? Like maybe there's an element of nerves that comes into play. But I'll tell you, the guys, and I want to include Allen in this, even though there have been some incredible losses along the way. We're like, how? This has come up this week as well. I want to think of Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, anybody on this level. Think about their lives. Think about Lawrence's life. Just the national championship game. The scrutiny of the 101 pick and all of it. Is he likely to be the type of guy that gets scared because it's a wild card game? Or is he maybe the type of guy who will rise to it? This is true of Allen on a different level. It's not really this game for Allen. It might be in 2 weeks if the Bills make it that far. But this is why I'm here. If I can't come up big in this game, I've got no place being here.
Right.
I mean, it's a wild card home game. If I cower to that, I should just quit. This is what we've worked for. I mean, it's going to sound like I'm in a locker room or something, but this is the whole point. I mean, do these guys get scared in this moment, or do they feel like, well, this is the game that matters? Like, this is when it matters. What we did all year was for this. And not that you'll have your best game necessarily, but I also think, once you get on the field, how would I know? But this is just, I think, how it works. I think they mostly patronize reporters when they take questions about pressure and all this. Like, they just kind of tell you what they want to hear, maybe, and make it sound like it's, a bigger deal. This is like when you're on the field and the ball is snapped, is there anywhere in your mind where it's like, this is the playoffs? When you got the ball in your hands and you're looking for an open target, are you at all possibly thinking about like what round we're in the tournament or what week this is? Or no, I don't think so. So not everybody's at their best in the biggest games. I'm not saying everybody has to be, but there's a supposition that a team like this that has very limited experience in the playoffs would be at a disadvantage. I just don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, nobody is ever in the history of, well, I shouldn't say it that definitively, but I can't think of an athlete that would tell you, yeah, actually, I got scared. I was nervous.
They won't tell you that.
You're never going to hear it.
But they will tell you that it's there. Like, most guys won't just tell you.
That the pressure's
They won't
there.
say what I'm saying.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You're just playing. Maybe they would. Maybe some guys would.
Yeah. Well, for what it's worth, I mean, you mentioned 1-1, right? I mean, the last time these guys were in the playoffs, now they lost the next week, but Lawrence threw 3 picks in the first quarter of that game against the Chargers. So, and what was his reaction to that? They came back from 27-0 down to win 31-30. And he had relatively huge game, 28-47, 4 touchdowns to go with the 4 picks. So I don't have the yardage total. 288.
How about that?
He rallied 3 picks in the first quarter of a playoff game. So, if you're looking, this is to the caller's point about fast starts, right? I'm thinking about taking the ball away from this guy. Hopefully I can confuse him. He's letting it rip and trusting what he sees. And this thing about the headset and the coach talking to him, and if McDermott can confuse him and, whatever. But you're not going to be home free because you ding him. This is a guy who threw 3 in the first quarter and then threw 4 touchdowns in a comeback. So,
and there was a 4th pick later?
Yeah, there was.
How about that?
3 were in the first quarter, and then where did the second quarter down 24 down 24-0 is the 4th one.
He threw 4 picks in the first half.
And 4 picks in the first half.
Stayed in.
And then threw 3 touchdowns. I think he had one before the half ended. Yeah. He made it 27-7 before the half ended with a touchdown pass, and then threw 3 more in the second half.
How many of those games are there, playoffs or not? 4 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. How many of those are there?
Not many. I mean,
it's pretty crazy. I'm looking that up.
Right. You got a legendary Kelly Monday night game where he threw 3 in the sort of like this. 3 early against the Bengals and then threw 5 touchdowns.
I was there.
I think is that game. This is the playoffs, not a regular season night game against the Bengals. And so if you're looking for him to crack, all I'm saying is, you might want to look somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, if he does, that most reports on it will be about how it was the playoffs and that made it different. Not just that they're playing a good team, because in the playoffs you pretty much only get good teams. But it'll have some story will be written everywhere about like why it was nerves. I don't know. Maybe. Doubt it. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, Football Friday. Thanks for your call, John. This is WGR. Sam Panayotovich admonished me for having too many unread emails. It's on the Odyssey app. 858 is the current number, but that is down. He doesn't even know.
Oh, well, good
I've chopped
job.
at least 100. I was hovering around 1,000. Then I had to get my car fixed. Perfect opportunity to sit there for the hour and a half at the dealership and just delete. Great time. Bulldog, hey, you got a minute? Big fan. I've been listening to you. I remember meeting you at a paint store once. Remember that? How's it going?
Oh, it's good. Thanks. I appreciate you listening. How did you recognize me? Sorry.
You were sitting at a table with headphones on and a sign that said WBEN. Fantasy question. Who has the better postseason, in your opinion? Who will have the better postseason?
Okay.
Ladd McConkey or Quentin Johnston? Two Chargers receivers. Maybe it's only one game. They are an underdog Sunday night at New England. Who do you like more in that game, or just that and beyond?
Well, I like McConkey more as a player, but I feel like it's been a little weird. I feel like I might like Johnston to score a touchdown or even two more than McConkey to pile up 8 for 110 or something.
All right. That'd be good for McConkey this year.
Yeah.
But last year in the playoff game, they lost in Houston. He went, I think, 9 for 197 and a touchdown.
Right.
McConkey was kind of the guy you needed last year. There's going to be somebody like that. Some receiver on a losing team. Metcalf did it for Seattle one year when they played in San Francisco and lost. That just gives you a monster game. I mean, all these playoff challenge tournaments, and hopefully I can make it to Sunday before Jalen Coker does this or somebody for Carolina.
That would be good for you.
But you want to have the guy, or at least have there not be one, where it's a receiver who puts up 30 fantasy points and you're just maybe dead already.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know if it was going to be Ladd McConkey or Jalen Coker or maybe even Rome Odunze, who's off the injury report for Chicago. Somebody like that.
Maybe Brandon Cooks.
Maybe it's Brandon Cooks.
At one point it would have fit more into the conversation we were having last segment, but then I thought of the thing about Lawrence and that playoff game and the 4 picks in the first half, and I wanted to, get through it. The play, because we never got to talk about it, I was off. I didn't work the Eagle game, and I didn't come back until the following Friday. But the play at the goal line, before the 2-point conversion, the third quarter drive that ended on a failed 4th down?
Where Allen tries to run it in?
Yeah.
Get stopped?
Yeah. That play. I know the screen grabs can play tricks on you, but man, I watched it a lot when it happened. For all the Brady haters, that was a chef's kiss play design that absolutely worked. They had Knox out there to block. There was only one defender there, and Cooks got derailed a little coming through on the motion. A defender was in the backfield and he had to and I don't know if it just threw the timing all off, but Allen never looked at him one time, and he was parallel to Allen on the field, the same amount of yards away, and no one in front of him except for Knox and one defender, which should have been probably pretty easy. I don't even think the defender would have gotten there. And he never looked back at him. And I'm bringing it up now only because I hope they didn't burn that play. It was such a good. They've used Shakir on plays like that orbit motion where he doubles back and that kind of thing.
And Samuel.
Yeah, and this play, Cooks. What is Cooks? Cooks is post patterns, right? And really that's how they've used him. But in that instance, they used him like that, and they got a nothing burger out of it. And I just hope it didn't die there.
It was so there. They were so close to each other that as Allen has run past the line of scrimmage, he still could have pitched it.
Could have lateraled it. Yeah, he loves to do that.
It was there the whole time.
Yeah. I just think he just didn't. I don't know, he must have forgot, that the person who derailed Cooks on the motion, getting into that route, is right in Allen's face. I mean, he did have, it wasn't like he was just standing there and didn't see Cooks. He had to, he had to move right away to get away from that unblocked defender, but he did. And then there's Cooks just like, oh, I just hope that play, because I think everybody's so thorough about all this stuff. It's like because Allen ended up running, it's not like Jacksonville or any other team playing the Bills is going to forget about that play. So I just hope they didn't. They probably wasted it.
Picks after the update here on WGR.
3 players have been ruled out for the Buffalo Bills ahead of their wild card matchup this Sunday with Jacksonville. Max Hairston, Damar Hamlin, and Terrell Bernard. And 4 players are questionable. Josh Palmer, Ty Johnson, Shaq Thompson, and Matt Prater. Though Palmer was the only one of those 4 that did not practice all week. He has been dealing with an ankle injury. And for the Jags, just 1 player has a game day designation, that being left tackle Cole Van Lanen. He did return to practice today after missing most of this week with a knee injury. He is officially questionable. The Barnes Firm Injury Report is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pre-game on Sunday does get underway bright and early, 7 a.m. We'll carry all the way to that 1 p.m. kickoff. We'll then hand the baton off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. Some notes from around the league. The Ravens have requested to interview Bills OC Joe Brady for their vacant head coaching position. He can interview with Baltimore after the game on Sunday. And the Dolphins have their general manager. They are hiring Packers Vice President of Player Personnel, John Eric Sullivan. Atlanta is now the only general manager opening. The wildcard round is going to get underway tomorrow afternoon. Just 2 games, though, on the schedule. They'll start in the late afternoon. Rams at Carolina, 4:30. Then at 8 over on Amazon Prime, the Bears host the Green Bay Packers. But tonight, we've also got some action in college football. Game number 2 of the 2 semifinal matchups. Peach Bowl, 7:30. Indiana and Oregon playing for a spot in the national title game against Miami. Oregon last played for a national title in 2014, while Indiana has never been in this position in their program's history. And in college hoops, coming up in just about an hour at 7, Niagara at Iona. That game you can listen to right here on WGR. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Excited, we gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I mentioned inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
On Sunday is 66 and rain in the morning and windy for game day.
Is wind through the game? Windy during the game,
like?
or windy?
What
I don't know.
Al Roker?
I don't know if you got hour by hour there. I mean,
maybe I do.
You probably do. Just you got to delete some of those emails.
That's the problem.
There's no correlation there whatsoever, you idiot.
No, it's 10 to 20 miles an hour, 50% chance of rain Sunday in Jacksonville. What am I, Al Roker? Who's the all-time weatherman? Weather person?
Barry Lillis.
Barry Lillis, weatherman Rushmore. Barry Lillis has the show ever. Al Roker.
I don't know. I don't run. I'm Tom Joles. I'm local. I'm not going to go. I never really paid attention to the national weather people.
Who are they?
I've never been that. I've never been
Willard
a guy.
Scott.
Okay, yeah.
Willard Scott.
I remember Willard Scott. I just never watched those morning shows.
I did before school. I would watch one of them, Today or Good Morning America, before getting on the bus.
I think I'm enough older than you that those shows didn't exist when I was going to see
Well, they definitely existed. The Today Show, that's quiz show. Dave Garroway?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Goes back to the 50s.
Just never been my thing. I've never thought, oh, I got to turn the TV on. Like, even when the kids were little and I'd be up making them little egg sandwiches or something before I either took them out to the bus stop or drove them to school, although mostly by the time I was driving them, they were old enough to make their own breakfast. I never would think, and we had a TV in the kitchen. I would think, I gotta get good morning. I gotta see what's going on.
I don't think I really had that exact thought. It was just a habit. It would be on in the Brian Gumble,
right,
and the Today Show would be on in the house before I would.
I guess what I'm saying is mostly my parents didn't watch it, because you're saying if it's on, then you would get in the habit of watching it and maybe keep watching it as you got older. But we just never was a thing.
I was interested in TV, is what it was. Like I didn't aspire to be like an anchor of a show like that, but I wanted to be in this. I wanted to.
Yeah.
I was always. I'd watch anything. I mean, anything, like just
mornings
soap
for me
operas.
As a kid. I watched a lot of soap operas because my grandma Parker, whose birthday was on the same day as mine, so my dad's mom. She lived with us for quite a while when I was in from middle school to early high school, I guess. I don't know if those years line up. I can't remember when she passed away exactly, but I'd come home and I would watch the soap operas with her. And I was, up on it enough. It's not like something I would talk about on the bus, but I knew what was happening as the world turns. I knew, because I would hang out and watch it with my grandma. Now, mornings for me, going to school, as soon as I got a stereo in my room, and that's another thing, I don't remember what year that was, but I remember having a stereo in my room and headphones, and I would always take it right up until the last minute. I had to get out of the house and walk to the corner for the bus, listening to what I wanted to set my mood for the day. So what have I got here, right? I got some Allman Brothers Band. Later on, it would have been the Who, or even eventually the Clash and the Ramones. Headphones, listening, eating a Pop-Tart, just standing in my room. Okay, I guess I gotta go. Chris, you're gonna miss the bus. Headphones off, out to the bus.
Mm-hmm.
No time for TV.
Thinking about soap operas last night because Lisa Rinna is on the Traitors.
Who's Lisa Rinna?
Lisa Rinna, Days of Our Lives. That's kind of how she got her big break.
Mm.
Okay, enough about this silliness. Enough silliness. Let's get to something serious. That is NFL picks.
And what if I did do it? Even though I admit to nothing and never will. What does that make me? And I'm not here just defending myself, but all those pickers out there who've been caught. Each and every one of them. Who has to suffer the shame and humiliation because of people like you.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Are we not human? If we pick, do we not bleed?
On WGR.
I am not an animal.
Sports Radio 550.
On to the playoffs. There are 13 games left. I'm up 8.5, I think.
Yep.
All right. We usually alternate in the playoffs. Want to do that?
Yeah.
Are you going to go against all of mine, or you want to just let's
I need to see what's happening. But yeah, we can just do each game. Is that what you mean? Rather than you do your 5 or 6 picks?
Yeah. One by one.
Yeah. All right.
I kind of thought about just taking all the favorites or all the underdogs, because, a little game theory, what are the favorites going to go 0-6, or are the underdogs going to go 0-6? But I'm not doing that. I picked them up each, honestly, and I've got 2 underdogs. No, 3. 3 and 3. 3 favorites, 3 underdogs. As it turns out.
That's what I have to.
There will be differences.
Yeah, there will. And I'm prepared to change if I need to.
Okay.
We got to play a game here.
I'll take the Rams somewhat reluctantly, minus 10.5 tomorrow afternoon in Charlotte. They lost there, but the people who shape these lines know that. They're aware of that Carolina beat them. And that was a game the Bills must have not have been playing at the same time, because I was watching Red Zone that day. And Stafford threw interceptions. It was just messy from the Rams. I doubt that happens again. Carolina hit a couple of kind of miracle plays too, 4th down plays. They'll be hard-pressed to repeat that. Much better team. Maybe the best team in the league versus, I don't know,
the worst
the
team in the
24th
playoffs.
best team in the league, or
the worst team in the playoffs, I think, probably.
How about maybe the worst team in their division and they won it?
Right. Can I just want to ask a question here, because I'm supposed to now tell you what I want to do.
Yes.
Can I go back when we're done and change this pick, because I want to take the Rams, But if we're too much the same,
Sure.
I may want to take the 10.5. So I want to reserve the right to circle back.
Fine.
If I need to. But for now, I'm going to say Rams. Same. It is a lot of points, so if I need to find a way to get something against you, I may just go there. But for now, I'll say Rams.
Puka Nacua is maybe the chalkiest pick of the FFPC playoff challenge. 1 pick per team, and everybody loves him. Game 2, tomorrow night. I'll take the Bears. It's vibes. Chicago plus 1.5 at home against Green Bay. Green Bay has been kind of stuck. I mean, they lost to Philadelphia last year in this round. They've gotten to the playoffs maybe every year under Love, but maybe every year. But they sort of hit their heads on the ceiling here. And they are favored. I like that for their chances that they're a favorite as a 7 seed on the road. Of course, they'd be on the road as a 7. But I'm vibing with the Bears. At home, third meeting in like about a month. Love how it's going with Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, even DJ Moore had a big game against Green Bay in one of the 2 meetings. Odunze may be back. They can really run it. Their defense is iffy. Is Green Bay the team that can exploit that? Not really for me. So probably a close game. I'll take the 1.5 with the home team.
I also like the Bears, but because this is a contest and it's minus 1.5 and feels very much like a coin flip kind of game, both of the games recently have come right down to the end. We were talking about this earlier with Sam, and I think even with Joe Ostrowski yesterday. Sam Panayotovich, not Sam Monson, although he may have said the same thing. I'll take the Packers minus the 1.5. I don't love it, but I need to make up ground.
Mm-hmm. Game 3, I'll take Jacksonville. I've just never felt it this week and really for a while with the Bills. Plus 1.5. I respect that team is really complete. And I'm not, like we talked about last hour, somebody that thinks like Trevor Lawrence will get scared or Liam Cohen will like drop his play sheet and trip over himself or something. And, the Bills on the road are an iffy bet. So I think it's a tough opponent. I'm not going to bet the Jaguars probably, but that's where my head is.
I will take the Bills, and I would have taken the Bills unless you had, and then maybe I would have had to play the game a little bit. But as much as I respect the Jags, I do feel like experience. Not that I think the Cohen is going to, call timeouts when he doesn't have any and get a penalty or something because I've been in the playoffs before. I don't think that. And we talked about Lawrence half an hour ago. 4 picks in the first half, 4 touchdowns to lead a comeback. So I'm not worried about him and them being shaky. I'll just trust experience here, and I'll trust Allen. And I feel like this isn't necessarily true across the board, but I feel like, these games where they start and Allen is just on it. He'll even say after, like, I just felt it, like the way the ball was coming off my hand. Maybe we get one of those days out of him, and that's enough to cover the 1.5. So I'll take the Bills.
I looked it up. There are 20 games in NFL history where a quarterback threw 4 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions. The most recent being that Lawrence performance in the playoffs. Ryan Fitzpatrick did it for the Bills in a loss at New England. Tom Brady did it in the famous Bills upset win here in 2011. Drayton Florence, 4 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. Joe Namath, in also a famous game at the Rock Pile in 1968, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 3 were pick sixes. All right, got to go faster. Pick 4, Sunday 4:30. I'll take the Eagles. It's a numbers pick. I mean, the line has really pushed toward Philadelphia. I don't really love it, but people are spending, apparently, real money on Philadelphia, and the line has jumped, almost doubled in a couple of days. Philadelphia.
I, earlier today, loved this game at 4.5 before the line jumped another 1.5 up to 6. So I'm going to swing over to the 49ers side. Also, tactically, because of the game you and I are playing, 6 points is a lot.
5.5 now, but still. Oh, wow. What a reaction.
I liked the 6 so much, and I also just typed it into my iPad so I'd have a record of it, but it's okay.
All right.
5.5.
Live line.
5.5.
Live FanDuel.
Stupid FanDuel.
I'll take New England Sunday night, minus 3.5. That'll be interesting, too. Jim Harbaugh, Super Bowl winner. That's kind of the theme this year. AFC doesn't have the famous accomplished quarterbacks as per usual, but they do have Super Bowl winning coaches. Like even Vrabel, who hasn't won as a coach. He's won as a player, and he's won Coach of the Year. It's pretty stiff competition there. I got to respect that, but the Chargers have just had so many problems up front. And I got to feel like Vrabel in New England will figure out ways to take advantage of that. That Milton Williams is back, and they've been a different team against the run when he plays. So 3.5 for a home team that went 14-3. Okay.
I will take the Chargers. I was going to take the Chargers. This is like more than anything wishful thinking. I think if you had taken the Chargers, I would have swung over to New England. So I'm not like in love with it, but what? I don't know. Give me a couple of Herbert to Quentin Johnston touchdowns after we talked about him a minute ago. I think they're in tough. This game, despite the spread being so low, feels to me like it could be a game that sneakily just turns out like 35-10 or something for New England. But I'll take the Chargers. I love losing.
Yeah, I expect May to be great. Just another one where you're going to hear, can he handle the playoffs? Does he seem like somebody who can't? I don't know. Just I expect him to be great. Finally, Monday night, I'll take the Steelers +3.
Oh, I thought for sure you weren't going to join me on that.
Well, I hate it, but C.J. Stroud at Pittsburgh in the playoffs, show me.
I really like it. It's like I really do like it. I'm definitely going to stay on that. So what have I got? I've got 4 that I'm different than you on.
Yeah, without accounting for the first game.
Right, the middle 4 there. I'll stay on. I really believe in the Steeler one, so I'll stay there, and I'll keep the Rams the same too.
Okay.
4 different is enough. If I get those,
you probably need them all.
Yeah, if I get that, I've cut your lead in half, and that's almost in half anyway.
If you get that, we've got a Bills game next week, unless they win by 1 point. Then
could happen.
That'd be fine, right? That's what I should want.
Right.
The Bills to win by 1 point. Right. Taking these picks as seriously as I do.
Oh, yeah. Woo.
We'll see about Ty Johnson. There'll be news tomorrow. We've talked with Sal all week about how much there is for the Bills to figure out with their roster and elevations
practice
and
squad
injuries.
Call-ups. Right. Yeah, if Ty Johnson can't play, then Frank Gore Jr. is in the window. Wow. Johnson, think about 2-minute drill, third downs, how much they trust him to be the guy there. And it's not just to block. He obviously is a weapon. But, man, that turning to Ray Davis or Cook or Frank Gore Jr., that's a big variable.
It's different.
Yep. And then you've got the situation with the receiving court on Palmer. See about him, Hardman maybe. I don't know. Linebackers, defensive tackles. Tomorrow 4:00. It's the playoffs. Everything matters more. I know there are people that every week pay attention to 4:00 on Saturday or whatever the time is. It's not always that, but when it's a 1:00 game, that's when it is. Feels like that's really going to be a big one this week.
See about the kicker too,
right?
Prater. I've said all week I wouldn't trust him with this recurrence of a leg injury. Come on, but I guess it trended the right way. So we'll see if they make a move there. They have Matthew Wright available if they want to shelve Matt Prater. All right, we were very excited to get Sam Monson back on with us today, talking about the Jaguars season, the Bills and the matchup, and some of the playoffs and coaching news as well. We'll have that conversation for you next with Sam. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR. And by the way, as we take a break, we should tell you that the break is brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.